we're live
How do we know?
because it says so.
Okay.
And we have Cindy and Anna here.
Hola.
Hola. We're just gonna hang out a little bit just for a few minutes and give people time to join us. It's
Yes.
beer time. Um, and I'm like really, really tired, so I'm kind of out of it today. Little bit.
Well, it's been a stressful few days.
Oh, the
So-
week has sucked so far.
Hola, Wilfredo.
Hi, Wilfredo. Oh my, yeah, it's been rough this week.
Yeah,
Job's been rough this week.
it happens.
Yeah, I mean we had a complete 100% disintegration of a staff meeting because we had an extremely insubordinate couple of employees, and then just stupid stuff, you know. People who want to pass the buck, they don't want to do their job, things like that, you know.
Not me.
It happens.
Don't give that to me. I'm not responsible for that.
No,
No.
yeah, not mine.
Nuh-uh. Find somebody else.
I had somebody today, he wouldn't even let me finish my sentence when I called him and said, hey, I got this ticket that I think might be, it's not us. Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Hola, Andrew and Ruby.
I'm just tired. Hi. Oh, yeah, I know. Hi. Yeah, Cindy. No. You know what? That happens. Everybody has a job that some weeks are just like, you just don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
It happens. What are you going to do?
the best part about this is there's a clock ticking on this. So, even as bad as it gets, you know that,
Yeah.
this is not where I'm going to be for eternity. This is only going to last till
No,
here.
no, it's a good
Okay.
paycheck. I like what I do. It's just been a rough week.
Yeah.
That's all. And pink hand waving. Hey, Jesse and Michelle.
And Rick.
Like we literally had no topic to start discussion off with today.
One thing Rick is now in SMA.
Oh, that's pretty awesome, Rick. Congratulations. Yes. I like San Miguel. I just don't like the sidewalks in the streets.
And the hills.
and the hills. But I do like San Miguel. It's very, very pretty.
That is probably one of the most cultural cities I think that we have hit.
Oh, yeah. When they have,
especially coming up, Rick,
Yes.
you're hitting there at the best time of the year. Because,
their Easter season is just
Wow.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
El Senor and
Well, what about the day with the dances? That was in March, wasn't it?
yeah, that may have already occurred.
That already happened. But
then you still got
the
that
Good Friday with all the altars.
Yeah, and then blowing up the effigies and that
on Easter Sunday.
No.
Yeah, that was fun. So what a fun place to be for Easter for sure. Let's see. And rough week. Just spend a couple hours meditating.
That's it. Pop the top on a beverage and let's say, okay, let's go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's okay. We get to close out the week with fun. So
I have actually been listening to, I kid you not, classical music and waltzes while I work some of the time this week, just because it's soothing. So,
Hey,
One of our friends here, Arlene, turned me on to a song that came out. It was a couple of years ago, and the video has gone viral. It's been everywhere. I can't think of the man's name at the moment, but there is this famous violinist who has an orchestra, and it's in Europe. I believe he's Dutch. I could be wrong. And he concentrates mostly on waltzes in live performance. And he invited this girl named Emma Koch. And Emma Koch was a young girl who won or was ranking very high on one of those talent contestant type shows. And he saw her perform this song called Voila. And she's also Dutch, and she sings the song in French as it was written. And her performance with this orchestra, it is so beautiful. There are grown men in the audience crying. It's a wonderful song. And so I've been listening to some of that lately. It's really pretty.
Well, and even my mom was like,
Yeah.
thank Gina for putting that on the Facebook
Yeah,
page. And
it's
you know,
beautiful. Look her up, Emma Koch, K-O-K, and the song is called Voila. I just can't remember the name of the conductor. He is very, very famous. In fact, one of the waltzes he performed live one night was actually written by, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now, an actor that I really like. Silence of the Lambs.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins was like a music major or something like that in college, and he wrote a waltz, and it had never been performed until this man performed it just within the last few years. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been doing to try to calm down. Oh, and by the way, the song Voila was actually written by another woman, and her name escapes me at the moment, but she actually is French, and she wrote it and entered it into the Eurovision Song Contest, and she actually won the right to perform representing France as a country. I don't think the song won, but I just think it's interesting.
No, but then the young lady who did it, she took it to a different level.
Oh, definitely.
It just makes you go, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
really, really fun song.
You can almost sort of look at her and go, okay, that might be the next Sarah Brightman.
I mean, it could be.
I mean,
I think that girl, when she did it, I think she was 14 or 15. And I think she's like 17 or 18 now. I don't know. I don't know anything else about Emma Koch. I just know that particular video, that song, Voila, it's a waltz type melody and with this orchestra, and it's so beautiful. So give yourself some time to look that one up. I think it's well worth it. And hey Jim, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Thank you. And Rick, yeah, look, liking it in SMA.
Oh, they do give you exercise. Our biggest concern was, 10 years from now, 75,
Yeah.
And we happened to see a couple that was probably older than 75. I think they were probably in their 80s. At least they looked it, coming up the street, and they were every handhold they could get.
Especially the woman.
And she
was hanging on to everything.
It was
just to get up the street. So, like we can't do that. That'll be us in 10 or 20 years. So for sure. Ruby, it's only Wednesday, but boy, I'll tell you what, after that, oh gosh.
Hump day has come. It is gone.
Hump day.
Yep. 2 days left, and
oh God.
And then it's Arlene's birthday party, and
yes,
Katie bar the door.
Oh Lord.
Yes.
It's just after that horrible staff meeting on Monday, it felt like
sort of set the tone for the week.
The whole week was just like downhill after that. It was not good. Oh goodness.
No, you didn't miss.
No, you didn't miss much.
Doing the chit chat.
I just find it really, and I'm just going to say this, here's something to talk about. Why, where? How does anybody get anywhere, gain any ground, gain any points, gain anything from trying to argue with or embarrass their boss in front of their entire team? That's kind of how the week started. Don't know. I could never do that. I may have had jobs where I just absolutely despised my boss, but I would never do that. Never.
That's sort of one of those where you just go, this is career suicide for this particular job, and
oh goodness, it just blows my mind. But
sometimes people don't know when to just go. If I had a issue, maybe a one-on-one would be the better way.
Well, and that's just it. And the boss basically said, we're going to take this offline, and this person just refused to do it. So it just
again.
Yep. And I said, hi, Stephanie. and Peppa, what did you finish up? Finished clipping both Pomchi puppy claws. Aww. And so here's my question. Do they take it well? Some dogs just relax and chill and let you do it, and other ones will fight you every step of the way. So how did that go?
Yeah, Bandit sort of was me.
Bandit, I had to kind of initially I had to muzzle him. And then I took him to a groomer to have them do it. But you know what? He hated having them done so much that all it did was just make him hate it even more, because probably the groomers were probably not as gentle as I was, because it's not their dog. He hated it. He absolutely hated it.
And then the cat sort of went whatever.
And the cat was just
here.
Any more news on TubeCon? I'll leave that up to you.
Not yet. I think that we have narrowed it down to probably those first 2 weeks in February. And I know that KJ and Craig are working with some local establishments there in Ahihique, restaurants, hotels, venues to host and things like that, and waiting to get the answers. So I think it's just trying to put together the right weekend for the majority of the, businesses, and then have them go, all right, there's two that this would be a better weekend than that one. Well, if you're talking to 10 and 8 go, we want this one. Well, you have to go back to the other 2 and go, look, it's going to be this one. Do you still want to participate? Yay or nay? So
you should probably get in contact with
I
them as it's coming up. We got so many to-do things. We got this honey-do list, and none of it's getting done. Although I do have another dentist appointment.
And we have the eye appointment.
And we still need to find out what's happening with your dentist stuff.
Well, you're going next weekend, so then
I'm
going to be right there with you.
Eye appointments, we're probably going to give up on the Enapalm thing completely.
Yeah. That's,
we need to update our RFC. We need to do an address change. We need to get a bank account.
And the bank account we're going to do on the 26th. Yep. After we do the eye appointments, we'll be right there with the girls, and we just go to Banamex.
All right. Well, I will bring all my documents. One needed many trees. Peanut butter? Maybe. Let's see. Oh, I've done that before. Don't mind embarrassing the boss when they don't have any technical skills and try to do system architecture or design beyond caring when someone is ego tripping. Yeah. And you know what? And I've mentioned this before, that my boss has literally no technical skills. However, he was in the right in this case. We basically had a person who was on call and was unreachable for over 8 hours on the weekend with a high priority incident where a nurse was trying to transfuse a unit of blood to a patient. That's critical. And this person who was on call was unreachable for 8 hours. Service desk couldn't get her.
The boss couldn't
get her, and the boss called her every hour on the hour for the last 7 hours and sent her a text message. She has excuses for all of it. And he wasn't calling her out by name. He was discussing the incident that we had, because it was literally the day before, and she took great offense at this, and it proceeded to just disintegrate. And despite the fact that he said he wanted to take it offline, she refused to do it.
And now
that's it.
Part of this, I blame on him, because that conversation should have been had one-on-one before you had the meeting, before you address it, so that had all been cleared. That's just one of those, the management.
Well, I mean, it was an early morning meeting.
I understand that, but
on a Monday.
It's one of those that, hold on, we need to clear the air on this before we bring it to the group. And so,
I think part of it was
management style.
I think part of it was he was trying to get all of us to basically explain how we handle checking on the weekends.
Conversation should have been had before then, and that way she wouldn't have felt like she was being singled out, because that conversation would have been.
That's not what I'm saying.
I know. I understand what you're saying.
I think he was trying to get all of us to just.
I understand that part. I'm saying that if he'd had to talk with her, then had to talk with the group, that wouldn't have been had as much pushback. Maybe.
We all have an issue with the woman anyway, though, because she does.
Yeah. Well.
She does disappear. A lot. So, yes, cookies.
Yes.
Right there. See the cookies? Right
chocolate chip
chocolate chip cookies right there. And they smell so good.
And they tasted good.
And they tasted good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Papaw's coming. Yay. Yay. Everybody sees the cookies now, right? Oh, hey. Hello, Brandon. Welcome. I'm from North Carolina, family of 4. My wife and son are cancer survivors. Wow. All right. What would be a good location in Mexico with good hospitals? I do like San Miguel area. I believe San Miguel has good hospitals. San Miguel is just a little bit smaller than Querétaro. And
Well,
if you needed a bigger hospital,
Urquía.
yeah, Juriquilla and Querétaro are
Urquía
within an hour or so.
Well, Urquía is only about 35 minutes down the road from San
Yeah.
Miguel. And they have a very, very new hospital that they put in up there, the round one right there.
Oh, yes.
And
It's kind of phallic looking.
Well, I didn't design the thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The other 2 cities that are famous for medical care in Mexico are Guadalajara and Monterrey. And both of those have world-class facilities.
Yes.
I mean, world-class.
Merida's not too bad either.
No, but I'm just saying. But
yes, he's right. Guadalajara and Monterrey have really, really, really good medical facilities.
You talk to Ernie Baca, and he'll swear by the care he got in Monterrey because it saved his life. So,
and if you're not familiar with Ernie Baca, let me see if I have his thing here. Here he is.
Retired life in Mexico.
So
no bull.
You should check out his channel because Ernie is a cancer survivor.
Yep.
And he's a cancer survivor probably because they found it here in Mexico and took care of it while he was still waiting to be seen.
I mean, in
the United States.
Yeah, it was one of those where he noticed something was wrong, went to his doctor, they referred him, and they were waiting for the test and everything else. Went to Mexico, and I won't steal the whole story or tell the whole story, but he and his wife went to Monterrey to go see Yami's parents, and it started bothering him again. And she went, "We're going to the doctor." And, he went to the doctor, and the doctor goes, "We're going to do a test." "Well, I've already got one scheduled in the US. "No, we're going to do a test." And we mean like an hour from now. And so he left, went to do a test, and called, and they were in surgery the next morning, removing the cancer. So, what would have taken months of referrals and we need to see this. Now we need to see this oncologist. Oh, that's right. He needs to review the films and the tests. And, no, it went from seeing him to surgery in 24 hours. So,
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. And the flavor of cookies are
chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. I do have to put something up here. I'm going to add.
And I hope everybody enjoyed Monday night's national championship game.
Did I spell that right?
Not a Gators fan, but I was that night because that won me the family pool. So
that's right. We got money coming.
Money.
Okay. So I'm going to show this and go back to the chat for a minute because there's a question here. I missed this part. Do you working on EPOM? Do you mean ENAPOM?
ENAPOM?
Like the way I have it written here? And let me know if that's what you're talking about because we're not familiar with EPOM.
I've not seen that.
I've not seen that before. So the answer would be no if that's what you were asking. But if it's ENAPOM, we were going to work on it and we haven't yet. Partly because some locations will only give it to citizens only. Other locations will give it to residents, but then every time you move, you have to update it wherever you move to.
And it's sort of one of those going, if we had to rank all the things that we need to get done, that would drop way down because if we had to go, all right, let's say we end up in La Paz, well, now do we have to go redo it in La Paz? So it's sort of like we've made it 2.5 years. I bet we can make it to last year and a half.
Yeah.
She hadn't even qualified for it. And it's not something that we've really missed out on a lot of savings, because we tend to go to a lot of those places like the historicals on a Sunday, which, well, if you normally go on a Sunday with a residence card, you get in for free. So
sometimes
and
depends. Yeah.
and we haven't done a bus trip yet, which is another place where you get it, and we don't go to the movies that often. So
Yeah, we don't really take advantage of the opportunities to get discounts that often. So, but
Yeah.
if we did, I mean, if we get a little older, we'd like to have it. So, yes, see, happy wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm. No, really. Known that for a long time.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. Hey, Bill and Tricia. Working late to make taco money for 2027. Awesome. I've been working late too. I'm tired. I got bags under my eyes. So, okay. What do you think about Mexico being the top 10 happiest countries in the world in 2025? Okay. I read that when that list first came out. I think that's incredibly impressive. And
I think it's correct.
And it's correct.
I mean,
it's true. I also saw that the United States, I think, was like 28th.
Yeah, it's
something
about,
like
it's
that.
about the lowest rating they've had.
Yeah.
And after our visits early within the last few months, I was sort of shocked that they made it to 28.
Was it 28? It was like,
I think that's what, something like that.
27, 28, 29,
but you
somewhere
know,
in there.
That may have been a little high in the ratings. It could be a little, because I didn't feel a whole lot of happiness other than from my mom.
Well,
I mean, and my sister, but
we kind of expect, I didn't know that Mexico hadn't ever been in that top 10 before. We've known for a while that it's a happy place to be.
I think part of that is it's, don't ask, don't tell, don't spread it. Most people, and now more eyes are looking at Mexico than used to be. And, if you all you ever did was go to be a resort rat and go to the resorts, okay, those people are polite and nice and everything else. But once you left the resort, it went to a whole nother level, and you just was like,
you could see it. You feel
wow,
it.
okay. I mean,
it also depends on where you are. There's going to be some locations that maybe aren't as happy as others, but it's like that everywhere.
Duh. I mean,
but overall, I think it's great. Now, I haven't seen a study about the Mexican food being proven to have serotonin boosting cuisine in it. I would just imagine that in general, good tasting food just makes you feel good. I didn't know there was a study on it. I think the Mexican food in general is just healthier anyway. There's less preservatives in it, and it's fresher. And it didn't take long once we arrived here to just start losing weight without any effort.
Well, and the other part is, you go to a taqueria, and there is such a limited number of ingredients.
That's true.
You've got
unless you're getting mole.
Well, no, I understand that, but I'm talking about just a regular taqueria. Yeah. You're getting a little bit of seasoning, whatever your filling is, maybe a little queso, in the tortilla. Yeah. Done. And that's it. There is no preservatives. There, and they're doing it right there. So you get to see what's going into the food. Yeah. And the other part is you get to walk by and go, oh man, that aroma is. Huatulco, that boy there was smart.
Huatulco.
Las Paredes. We're sitting in the condo, and he's got a vent on the ceiling, and he's pumping that aroma out to El Centro, and you're just going.
I thought you were talking about the place in Tuxtla where the guy had the smoke blowing out into the street.
Well, that's not bad either. But he was another one that was very smart, and that was like, the Oranchera shop. Yep.
Okay, the next big planned trip is going to be in mid-June, and we're going to the U.S. for 2 weeks. We plan to visit my sister for almost a week, and then another 4 or 5 days with your family,
and
and then back to your
then
mom's.
for 4 days or so with my mom, and
Yeah, and then
just
back.
trying to make the travel work for the weekend so that she hadn't have as much
Yeah.
disruption in work. But
And then we're going to be going up to Surf City at Topsail Island in September to see our granddaughter.
and
And like and
yeah,
and our daughter and her common law husband.
Who won't pop the question?
That's seriously what we're calling him now.
Because he knows the answer, he just won't ask the question.
Common law. That's what we're calling him now. Hey, hi, Landon. Okay, Jesse, question. Have y'all heard anything about a change at INM? I know someone who went to renew 3 years. They don't live in Mexico, so INM only renewed for 1 year. Have you heard of this being a new thing? Have not. And I think that if it was common, we probably would have heard about it through Mariana.
Mm-hmm.
And I stay pretty up to date with Mariana. Plus, we're on her email list, so these changes.
Yeah, the last thing that Mariana put out as far as a major change in INM was RNE is done. The naturalization
For now.
Well, it's Mexico, so
Yeah. For now, she said that it's eliminated, but they don't know for how long. It may come back. No one knows.
Well, no one knows anything,
Right.
and especially here, But and the other thing is based on that date, you had to be in the country already,
right?
So they were putting lots of stipulations on that. They routinely, I mean, I remember when they were having the big brouhaha over the border, and we were going to inspect every truck and everything else. And then, the INM coming into Mexico when doing the land crossings was not giving out the full 180 days. And then all of a sudden they decided to go to the computerized system, and everybody got 180 days because they wanted to get the system up and running. So everything here is fluid at any given time.
Subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
The only consistency is
the inconsistency.
So have not heard anybody not being permitted to get the 3 years. Now, hopefully it wasn't a matter of them not having enough funds to pay for the full 3 years, because to get the 3 years, you got to pay for all of it up front.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the INM offices are just like the consulates in the United States, and they probably just do whatever they like to do at their particular location.
No, I think that's probably, I mean, just with the regularization program, you had certain offices that were, well, it's done, but yet Progresso and others were going,
yeah, we'll still do it.
Yeah, we'll still do it,
Yeah.
and go, yeah, we can get you taken care of. And, others were going, no, it's over. So I think a lot of it has to do with the size of the city that you're in. I think that probably cities like, Puebla, Mexico City, Querétaro, Monterrey, Guadalajara, bigger cities, they're going to probably have a more structured, whereas Progresso was such a small little office. I mean, that was basically, I think three
rooms.
3 rooms. And it was 2 people doing it, and one person sort of, sit, next. And so, yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the size of the office.
I've also heard lately of some inconsistencies in getting the tip extended. In addition to inconsistencies on the amount of time it takes to get the tip paperwork returned to you. For example, when we got our tip extended for 1 year, when we first arrived here in Querétaro, it took 10 months to get the email back with the final document. When we extended it for 3 more years in Progresso, I had to give them all the information up front, wait for a few days while they did all the paperwork, And then they handed everything to me the day we went to retrieve it. So there's a big difference even in the way the aduanas operate.
And that email was there that afternoon.
Yeah.
And so part of it again could be the workflow. Progresso is like, we want everything in advance so that we can pre-program everything, and boom, 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 and they were done. Now, remember, they deal with a lot more international coming in and out in Progresso, because that aduana office is actually there on the pier.
Oh, yeah.
And they deal with ships coming in, and I'm not talking just about cruise ships. I'm talking about, they have to deal with the customs and everything else for ships that are coming in, bringing supplies. And so they deal with it in a different manner than the airport here in Querétaro, that, they deal with the FedEx guys coming in, and that's,
Well, and here's some of the new changes that has been going on. If you have anything imported into Mexico, any kind of shipment, it doesn't even matter if it's just an envelope. You have to provide your RFC number.
And your CURP.
And well, not always. You have to provide your RFC number. Now, I ordered some body butter that I really like from a company in South Carolina, because they were shipping to Mexico now. And they asked me for my RFC number at the time I placed the order. I don't think that UPS got it. So when the order got to Mexico City, it sat in customs, and they called me, and then they sent me out a message that they needed me to call them. Now, here's the deal. I call UPS, but I get an English-speaking person who tells me that I'm going to have to speak to the one in Mexico City. He can't help me. Okay, I can't. I cannot speak to someone in Mexico City at UPS about this. My Spanish is not that good. So I have to have a friend call them. They needed my RFC again. So once they had the RFC, it sat in Mexico City, and it got scanned in holding every single business day for 2.5 weeks before they finally released it and sent it to me. So this package from South Carolina took over a month to get to me.
Now, the good news was at least they scanned it to let you know it hadn't left there.
At least I knew it was being,
knew it was still there.
Now let's talk about FedEx. So I have mail that I'm now having forwarded. Once we get so much mail, we just have them forward the envelope to us. And usually we get it within about 4 or 5 days, maybe a week at the most. So FedEx here sends me a WhatsApp message. Now remember this, it's WhatsApp. They have my phone number because they sent me a WhatsApp message. And I think this is a scam. And this guy says that he needs my RFC and my CURP. He's from FedEx, and would I please provide those? Okay, well, I wrote back to him on WhatsApp, and I said, well, I got an email yesterday, and I provided that information at FedEx's website yesterday. And he had this phone number on there that he tried to call, he said, and he couldn't get through. And I said, I don't know where you got that phone number, but you have my phone number because you are contacting me on WhatsApp. So I thought it was kind of scammy, but it wasn't. It just didn't make sense the way he handled it. And he said, I don't have the information. Could you enter it again? I said, sure. So I come downstairs. Now, this is what FedEx wants. They want your RFC. They want your CURP. They want your social security number if you're a U.S. citizen. They want your passport number. All of that to receive a package now in Mexico. And it still has not. It's been 3 days since I first gave them all this, and it still hasn't been released.
Yeah, it was Monday. So,
yeah. So, I mean, nothing comes in quickly at all anymore now. And you have to provide lots and lots of documentation to even get an envelope. So that's new.
Well, I mean, they are cracking down at the border, and that was part of I think an agreement that between Mexico City and Washington, D.C., that, trying to curb things going both ways across illegally. And so it's like, okay, this is a little bit of a pain that we're going to have to endure. And it may add a day to, so, don't send cookies, because they're going to sit
Except
someplace.
it's adding more than a day or two.
Well,
it's easily doubling it, maybe tripling it. But
and I think that's a lot of that also is going to depend upon where you are, because getting things to Huatuco seem to take us longer still.
True. I mean, it does depend on where you are.
Yeah.
This time, the FedEx package is actually sitting in customs at Querétaro.
At Querétaro Airport.
Whereas the UPS one was in Mexico City. So let's see. Agree on Progresso. Experience was great, and all my friends who went there have had great experience as well. Yeah. The only caveat with Progresso is you have to make an appointment in advance. Whereas it was in Querétaro initially when we first got here, you stood in line all night long, and the first dozen people that were in line got appointments until they filled up. And if you didn't get it, you had to come back again that night and do it again. Now, I do believe they take regular appointments now. But as long as you have an appointment set up in advance for Progresso, that's it.
Yeah,
it's easy.
The thought of sitting on those benches at the Querétaro I&M office again. Anybody who has to go to the Querétaro I&M office, take a pillow
or a butt ring,
something, because they are tubular steel benches, and if you are there for hours, that is painful
for bony butt people. Yeah, Progresso was pretty cool though, and they were very laid back, and they were real nice, and they laughed, and they were fun.
Yeah, I mean that was in and out, and
it was so easy. It was so quick. It was great. Let's see. Oh, Shane, I can smell those cookies. Oh yeah, I could too.
I had to fire up the oven, do some tater tots for dinner. So I was like, I'm going to do some cookies too. So, no.
Okay. Hi, JF. Any info on hiring a driver from Texas to Mexico to bring cats with us? There are drivers that I've seen recommended on some of the Facebook groups, I think it's maybe Mexico Expats might be one. There is a group that deals with driving in Mexico specifically to help you with routes and stuff when you're driving. That might be another one to look at too. We personally haven't ever hired anybody to do driving for us. We brought our own car
and do the driving.
Yeah.
We leave the driving to us.
But there are people, and I know I've seen a Facebook page because somebody had shared it in one of those groups of someone who will bring your pets. They will pick your pets up and bring your pets in. And then of course there's people who are, can be hired to do a move for you or drive you and your pets. Mexico relocation guide.
I would say that'd be my first place I would start.
I'm thinking that might be a good place to go to.
With Mariana. And I think the other part of that becomes
Mexico relocation guide.
How far, where you're going to be going to in Mexico.
Yeah.
If you're going to be going, somewhere within a day's drive of the border, okay, if you were to, go to, let's just go to McAllen and go through McAllen and then have that person drive you. And, if you were going, let's say, Aguas Caliente, you could make Aguas Caliente in a day. That'd be a push. I mean, that'd be a good push. In one day, you could do San Luis Potosí in a day, but you start getting south of that, it's going to be, overnight. Once you get south of that whole border area, the driving becomes much easier. And we didn't really have any problems navigating it for ourselves doing that. Even when we hit the state line checkpoints, we had a couple who spoke English. We had a bunch of them who laughed with us because, you know, we had good times with them, but they were all polite and nothing, you know, nefarious occurred. So a lot of it depends upon where you're going. I mean, if you were going to Huatuco or someplace down in El Puerto Vallarta, you know, that's a good, from the border down, that's a good 2-3 day drive. And, you know, again, the big thing there is you sort of pick the major cities and you go, you know, between 6 and 8 hours. And what's a major city that I can get to in that particular time frame, so that, you know, you can get there, get set up, because you don't want to be driving in a strange city for the first time in the dark.
In the dark. Ugh.
It's not fun, folks.
No, it's not. I'm getting past some questions here.
And Asheboro, first time I went to Asheboro, that was there used to be a shoe outlet there that my mom used to take my sister and I up to every year before school. There was this big shoe outlet up there. And of course, that's also the home of where the biggest zoo in North Carolina is in Asheboro, North Carolina. So, you know, we were talking about Asheboro.
I saw that. Okay. Yeah. Any concerts coming up that you will attend? Yes, we're going to see Chicago in Querétaro. I think it's May 25th. I think that's
something like that.
And I was just like, why is Chicago coming to Querétaro? But I don't even care because I like Chicago.
Well, and we'll get to hear Caifanes Saturday.
Oh, yes. Caifanes is playing a festival in El Pueblito, which is just south of Querétaro. So we'll hear them.
Yeah,
because it's not that far from our friend's house.
It's Arlene's birthday party, and we'll hear it until the karaoke starts, and then it'll be, you know.
Yep, for sure.
But, you know.
You know, and we just missed. I said, why does this happen? I believe Nunca Jamás, who I've been wanting to see forever now. I think they just played San Luis Potosí, and we're going there next. And I'm like, of course they did. Of course they were there.
The problem that we have is we're doing our own tour schedule, and so the two tours have not stopped in the same city yet. And once we stop and only one of them is moving, the odds will improve.
You know, and my favorite music festival just happened, and I have to be honest, I didn't miss it. This year they decided they were not going to go international, and they held it in Florida
in the Redneck Riviera
on the Panhandle, and I could tell by looking at the pictures it just didn't have the same vibe. Plus, it was one day less. It was on a resort type property where you had to pay for condos, but then you also had to pay sky high prices for all the food and drink that you ate,
which you could not take into the venue.
Yeah, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it at all. And it almost hurts me to say that, but then the more I saw the photos, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm not missing it. No. Besides, I mean, they'll take it international again. I hope they don't continue to do it in the U.S. because everybody who thought they were saving money spent just as much money, you know, unless of course you're not a drinker, and then you might have saved some money because you didn't drink.
Yeah, I mean, when they're talking $28 for a margarita
for a 32 ounce. Now, that's like my Bubba. My Bubba's a 32 ounce, and I get a margarita or a Miami Vice, and then it's in that Bubba for like 3 or 4 hours. Well, it's $28, and the beers were like I can't remember now, 12. I mean, they weren't horrible, but they were still expensive. So, you know.
Well, I mean, $4 or $5 a bottle for water.
Yeah, it was $4 a bottle for water.
You know.
Yeah.
10 or $12 for a hot dog. I mean,
it was stupid prices, and I'm not.
You know, and the problem.
And it looked ghetto. I'm sorry.
And the problem that they're about to encounter is every one of these has been done at an all-inclusive resort where these people are used to walking over going, give me a beer, give me this, give me that, give me the. You're going to put them on a credit card, and then all of a sudden you're going to have somebody. I mean, I guarantee there's going to be somebody is going to walk away from that and go, oh my God, they hit me with a bill that was
Yeah, I mean,
Boom.
I'm kind of hoping if they're looking for a new way to do this and they don't want to do the international resort thing again, maybe they'll consider doing a cruise ship. I mean, Cruise to the Edge every year has all these progressive rock bands, and I mean, and that's not the only cruise that does this stuff. So, I mean,
No, I mean,
maybe they'll
there's
do a one big holiday on a boat or something. I don't know. We'll see. But Chicago, May 25th.
yeah.
All right, I know I'm like missing stuff here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, two unrelated people from Nebraska. Oh, yeah, yeah. Another one who wants the cookies.
All right,
See, look what you did with the
Okay,
cookies.
just to give everybody the honest to God truth about this. Those are Pillsbury, the ones that you buy that are already mixed
Yeah,
and
they're-
everything else. And just so everybody knows, right now that I think it's 24 cookies, the dough so that you can bake them, ends up, I think that run about 119 pesos. So about $6 for 24 cookies. It's about a quarter a cookie. I'm not.
It's not bad.
No,
but
but I'm just giving everybody an idea as to what it costs because
I recently made homemade from scratch Toll House cookies.
Yeah,
and
she did.
They were the bomb.
Now, the one thing you have to be careful of here with the cookies, you can't let them sit out for too long because they will become hockey pucks.
Well, where
quickly.
we are,
Well,
it's very
yeah.
dry here. The moisture just goes away, and you cannot use Mexican flour. No,
Not for a cookie that needs to rise.
No, you cannot use Mexican flour for these cookies. They will not rise.
You will
They
end
will
up
be
with
greasy, flat little
manhole covers.
discs. They're terrible. You got to get imported flour.
And honest to God, at HEB, the flour is not.
Ooh,
not
let me
that
show.
expensive.
Let me show. I found this brand. Right here. This brand. HEB carries this. They carry it in all-purpose cake flour, bread flour, and
Almond flour, I think.
almond flour, maybe. And it's like the equivalent of $5 a bag. And it's got a Velcro seal.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing. So you need good flour if you're going to bake bread and cookies.
yeah.
All right. Are you required to have a Mexican driver's license?
Not as a temporary resident. If you have a Mexican plated car, then
I was going to say permanent residents, I don't think needed either.
If you have a Mexican plated car, you need a Mexican driver's license.
Yeah,
That's
so
the way I think that works.
Yeah.
Again, that's a Mariana question, but I think that's the way. I know that one of the things we are going to do is when we are in BCS and in La Paz, which is where the tour stops, that's where I'm going to be turning in my driver's license to get a Mexican driver's license, because once you get the Mexican driver's license, switching it out in another state is very simple. And everybody goes, man, BCS, they just
do it over there.
Just oh, here's yours. Sit down, take a picture. You're good to go. So, my game plan is I will be contacting the South Dakota DMV or department, whatever they are, DOV, Department of Vehicles, whatever, and
DPS maybe,
whatever, Department of whatever, and having them send me my duplicate so that when we get to BCS, I can just give them one of the driver's license, still have one. So when we go back to the U.S., I still have a valid.
Ooh.
What?
Well, that's kind of tricky.
Well, but it's still legal. I'm gonna lose one. That way, I still have one of both. And we go back to see somebody, and we rent a car. Well, here's
the other license. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, the short answer is no, you do not have to have a Mexican driver's license. You only have to have one, I guess, if you have a Mexican plated car. And that's it. And pretty much you're only going to have if you come in with a U.S. car or a Canadian car,
You're gonna
have a
be
temporary
temporary.
residence. So I guess that makes sense. If you're permanent resident,
unless you are going to stick within the 35, 50 kilometers of the border, whatever that free zone is along the border, which don't know why
you
anybody.
do, however, even if you don't have a Mexican driver's license, if you are driving here and you do have a vehicle that you brought in with you, you are required to have Mexican auto insurance.
Yes.
And our plan is costing us less than $500 per year. For full coverage.
Yeah.
So
and I think if you go to the Baja,
it's not full coverage really.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you go to Baja, they basically are, the whole peninsula is a free zone. Okay. Just drive. They don't
need insurance there?
I don't know about the insurance, but they don't need a tip. I mean, they're like that free zone along the border.
Okay. It's just a little confusing and misleading because we're talking about driver's licenses and insurance. Yeah. You don't need a tip there, but you still need a driver's license if you're going to drive your car there. And you need and you're permanent.
And you're permanent, right? I mean,
if you're temporary,
and your car's plated in the U.S., you're good to go with your U.S. license.
You are, but you need insurance.
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to keep it straight. Hey, Annie, Vet, and Arlene, we're so glad you're here. We were just talking about you. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the birthday this weekend. Everybody tell Arlene happy birthday.
So I think it's tomorrow.
We're going to have a good time. See, I'm taking jalapeno poppers, sweet and sour meatballs, Kalatsi cookies. Was there something else?
I thought we were going to take French toast casserole for
Sunday morning.
Yes,
guys, we're bringing French toast casserole. We're bringing Paula Dean's French toast casserole for breakfast the next day.
And then I'm going to be making Gringos R Us vodka tonics.
Boom. This is good to know. Thank you, Michelle. Most are booking out a year or more, and the average price is around $7,000. They ask for $5,000 or 50% deposit. And we're looking into this for the dogs and myself. Okay. Thank you for that information, Michelle. Being that we haven't done that, we've never looked into the details on something like this. Sometimes I see them posted by somebody in passing on one of the Facebook groups. And yes, on Mexico Relocation Guide.
Yep.
For moving humans and animals. Yeah. Most of the time, the resources in there are really, really good. Occasionally, there might be a problem with somebody, and when Mariana finds out about it, she pretty much she'll handle
quickly.
It. Yeah. We saw Chicago with Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it was amazing. Yes. They liked the tour together, and we didn't realize that they
actually have swapped songs
with each other. Yeah, like somebody in Chicago wrote an Earth, Wind, and Fire song, and vice versa.
The song After the Love Is Gone.
Was it that one?
It was either that or Reasons.
I thought it was Reasons.
Might be Reasons.
I thought it was Reasons.
And the guy from Chicago wrote it, and of course they were touring together, and he came out and sang it, and it was like,
please let Philip sing it.
Let Philip sing it, please.
Please let Philip sing it.
I'll give you all the kudos for writing a good song, but let Philip do the singing.
Oh gosh, not surprised that R&E was paused. It was meant to legalize people already there. Yeah, but in the past year, I heard so many sites recommend not to bother with the proper methods and pursue R&E. Greg, and the reason they were doing that is because the financial requirements have gotten so high that it was just cutting into. Let's be honest now. A lot of these places, a lot of these people here who advertise this, it's their business to make money to facilitate people moving here. And when those people can't afford the financial requirements anymore, it's cutting into the facilitator's business. So they're going to start pushing alternative methods. And R&E was like the last hope.
Well, R&E was designed for the people who got stuck here during COVID.
And even before that,
and before
there
that,
were
maybe,
other reasons.
there were, but that was the reason it got extended out was because you had people. Oh God, I think I'm trying to remember who. One of our subscribers got stranded in, was it Max? I think it was. They got stranded in PDC, and
Yeah.
and then went, you know what? I've made it home now, and was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
found a way of making a living, and boom, 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 and went.
I mean, they've been
Why am I going
talking.
back?
It's been rumored for the last 2 years that they were going to eliminate the program, and it just kept going.
Ever since we've hit the country, it's
yeah. So we knew it was going to come eventually, and you're right. It's not a surprise. I think that we just kept hearing more about it because these people who do this for a business, they're losing the opportunity to have clients who can't meet the financials. So this was their way of saying, look, we have this other way we can do it. Don't give up. And it's also helping their business by saying so. I don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
If they don't change that formula, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, they have the formula, the alternative formula has been created. And I don't think that they're going to implement that, or should I say, request that the consulates implement it, because it's really sort of up to the consulates. They do what they want to do. But until everything sort of settles down between DC and Mexico City, I think that it's sort of a
pause.
Well, yeah, keeping it at a higher level is allowing them to slow the tap on how many people are coming into the country. And so I think they're sort of looking at that going, yeah, right now let's pump the brakes and see what's going on, because we don't know exactly where everything is at. But,
Well, and yes, I know about freezing the cookies, but to me, I mean, I like them cold, but when they thaw out in their room temperature, then they get soft. And I don't like them soft. I like a little bit of crunch on them. So I like them fresh out of the oven. The problem is they're harder for him to eat.
So what we do is we just eat them quick. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
Oh, but before they get too hard, come on, we just got to get them going.
Okay, so Stephanie, before we stick our foot in our mouth, let me just say this. Check with Ernie Baca, because he just got his driver's license.
Well, he has transferred his from Monterrey down to the state of Guanajuato.
But the question is, at what point did he have to get his license in Monterrey? We're pretty sure that it has to do with the registration of a car in Mexico.
Yeah, the only reason he changed his location was because they would change his location without going through all the hoopla, and then he could get his plates for his car. Whereas if he went to go get his plates, they were like, no, you have to have this, you have to have this. Oh, that's right, your wife's on there, so she has to come down. Whereas he just went down and went, can I swap my driver's license out? Here's my new address. And they went, sure. Bing, bang, boom. And then when he went to get his license plate, they take a driver's license. So, I mean, it's one of those, the inconsistencies of the Mexican bureaucracy.
Right. Yeah. So we do believe that license is tied to your registration. And, we know that there's a lot of these speed cameras snapping photos of speeders throughout Querétaro. And we were wondering to ourselves, well, let's see, we have U.S. driver's license. We have a U.S. plated car. If they ever get pictures of us, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to go query the United States and say you owe Mexico for speeding through these drive zones? I don't know. But if you've got a Mexican plated car, they got that picture on file. And then,
go down there. I mean, because Arlene and Annie are temporary, and she got stopped in SLP. Legitimate. SLP is fairly easy to drive in, except when you're trying to get onto the carretera. Some of the exits are, the ramps get a little confusing, and GPS and SLP is not simple. And so, because we missed a couple, trying to find different spots, and they were looking at the GPS and ran a red light. And so, but she still has her California driver's license and was no problem.
What does that have to do with what I was saying?
She does not have a Mexican driver's license. She has a Mexican plated car, but a California driver's license.
Okay, so anyway, I was talking about these speed cameras in Querétaro that take pictures of your plate. And if you have a Mexican plated car, next time you go to update your registration or whatever you have to do each year, they're going to hit you with all the fines that you didn't know you had. Whereas with a U.S. car, I don't know how they would ever track us down.
I was addressing the Mexican driver's license with a plated car, and Arlene and Annie Bet don't have it. So
yeah,
no,
I wasn't quite there yet.
I know, but there's some what there is ambiguity. So don't trust us. Check. Hey.
Okay, moving on. Oh, yes, they do. They really do, except that I can't eat them. It's too much sugar. Makes me sick. And then I get dumping syndrome. And then I'm in the toilet for hours. And then so yes, Arlene got stopped with Mexican plates. And as long as you have a valid driver's license, it's okay. Good to know. So Stephanie, you're good. Thank you, Arlene, for setting that straight. You're good as far as we can tell.
If you're temporary, because that's what they are. I don't know what the status is if you're permanent.
Well, if you're permanent, you won't have a U.S. car.
She doesn't have one.
Oh, permanent, and she's got a
US,
Mexican plate.
She has a U.S. license with a Mexican plated car.
Oh, Lord.
That's what I'm saying. Did
you guys ever see that little GIF image of Rodney Dangerfield with all the mathematical symbols just floating in front of his face? That's how I feel right now.
Well.
Yes, though, that's right. There you go. Arlene got you covered there. Thank you, Arlene, again. Gold medal flour, if you can find it, Suzanne. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a store that carries it,
I don't think
more power to you.
Found it yet.
No, I mean, I've looked and looked and looked, and we just happened to be at an HEB, and lucky enough that over in the fancy imported section, they have all those fancy bags of flour, and I don't care about paying $5 for a bag of flour.
Well, it's about what you would be paying at home anyway.
Exactly. That's almost what I'd pay at home for it anyway. Mm-hmm. If I were to ever to buy bread flour and stuff like that, it was never cheap. So, and if I were to buy King Arthur flour, oh yeah, it's more than $5.
Bob's Red Mill or whatever, some of those. But and like when talking about baking, trying to find Crisco, you ain't gonna find it.
Annie, French toast casserole. That's right, honey, with pecans.
We just figured that'd be easy, just toss in the oven Sunday.
Yeah.
For brunch, because
we're all going to be, probably up till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Well,
I got my driver's license in Cozumel. It was quick and easy, no test, but it was the only time I've ever had to pay a bribe. Really, Doug?
So you had to pay for the convenience? I mean, that's...
Wow, do tell, because, I mean, I assume that there's a fee to get it, but you had to pay a bribe.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see here. They can't track U.S. plates as of today.
Thank God.
We didn't think so, Dave, but I'm like, I don't think they're going to waste the time to go try to contact somebody in the U.S. and say, whose plates are these? Well, there may come a time, though, when they've updated enough that
it's a possibility. But I mean, I think the people up in South Dakota are going, we got Mexico on the line. They want to put some charges on, and they're going, what? No,
I don't know.
So thank God, because, we didn't realize that they were just sitting up there, and I can get a little heavy with the foot sometimes. And there's probably been some that I've blown by that.
Not just some, and he doesn't just blow by.
Well, we only got 4 cylinders. It's not like I'm driving one of the Mercedes or the Audis or the BMWs that are always going phew, right by us.
I know. Yes, Suzanne, we are very close. As Arlene says, they live in El Pueblito. It is,
About 20 minutes away.
I mean, it's technically a part of the Querétaro metro area.
If you look at Querétaro, they're on the south side, we're on the east side.
Yeah.
And we just sort of,
And it's a cute little, it's a cute town.
it is.
It's really cute.
There's El Pueblito has a lot more character than where we are.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're in a cookie cutter.
We're in a cookie cutter, fraccionamiento with a bunch of different privadas. It's just literally one gated community after another. All the houses look the same. They're all white. That's where we are.
Yeah. No, if we were just down the street from Anivet and Arlene, that could be dangerous. So, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we need just a little bit of.
They would get sick of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But then they could send the dogs over. So, take a break from the girls.
But we're easy targets here. I'm taking my driver's license test. I expect to pay a bribe next month. Viva Mexico. I want to know more about these bribes. Tell me more about the bribes to get a driver's license. I mean, I assume that there are fees.
Yeah, I mean, from everything that we have heard regarding, La Paz, because that's the one I happen to pay attention to, because that's going to be at the end of our trip, end of the journey, and everybody there just sort of goes, it's hard to beat, walking in, going, here's my driver's license, here, take a picture, boom, no tests, no anything. So it's sort of like, okay.
You need distance for medical reasons, huh? From Marlene and Anivet.
Yes, both physical and mental. So.
It's fun.
It is
love
that.
Going there. Clearly a bribe. The cop took me aside, away from Mexicans, okay, and explained I could avoid coming back the next day and taking a test if I would give him $30 or so. That sounds like a bribe.
As much as I say, I would like to keep everything above board, but if somebody were to sit there and go, you won't have to come back tomorrow and it's only going to cost you $30, you 500, boom, okay, yeah.
That's 50.
500 is $25. I mean, I'm just sort of rounding, I'm 30 or so. So I'm going, 500 note, boom. Okay.
500. Okay.
500.
Yeah. Okay. I was just like, well, he said 30. Why are you saying 500? Okay. I get it now.
Because the or so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He's sort of leaving it up in the air. And I'm going, here's a 500. Let's call this a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun time to say, oh, look, we never get tired of views.
Yeah, well,
the neighbors and the police are a different story.
Yeah, we we've done this numerous times and we never had a problem. Then one night, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. Anivet and I are I
think it was after 1.
No. It was between 12:30 and 1.
Okay.
And Anivet and I are looking up at the ceiling and I'm seeing red and blue lights. Annie looks up, she sees it, she sort of looks at me and I'm like, is that here for us?
And I never noticed.
And she like, oh, and so she goes to the front door and the young lady was nice. The female police officer was, just turn it down just a little. So, because
we were basically doing karaoke and it was loud. And the funny thing about it is, we've been a lot of places in Mexico where the music's pretty loud and or the talking or the sitting out on the street out front is pretty loud, and it doesn't bother us. We've gotten used to it.
Well,
So this was kind of weird that somebody in the neighborhood called the police because the karaoke was too loud. So we've learned now to at around midnight or so, we turn it down and we put the mics away and we just sing without mics.
and that's probably what the neighbors are most appreciative of. They don't care if they hear the music. They probably just don't want the mics on because they got to listen.
I guess they got to listen to
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God, so funny. Okay, I almost didn't pay it, but I gritted my teeth and gave him the money. I was out there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I don't agree with the perpetuating of that system, but the practical side of me sitting here going,
I don't want to come back tomorrow.
I don't want to come back tomorrow, and you're going to get me out of here. Boom, 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 boom.
And who's to say you sit down to take that driver's test, and they're going, well, you did this and this and this, but if you give me this much money, I'll pass you. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
and if it was a police officer, I think you said it was, they don't get paid crap.
No.
And a lot of those police officers are stuck in their own pyramid scheme of sorts where they are expected to give a percentage of their earnings or their take to their boss. So kind of,
sort of sounds like politics in the U.S.
It sounds like, I know, right, Shane? I'd pay that without thinking twice.
Oh,
yeah,
I know, but you want to go, if we could make the system honest, and Mexico City is trying to make it honest, but
well, they're not going to do it to Mexican citizens. More than likely, and if they do, they're not going to ask for as much.
I mean,
just saying,
they were stopping everybody when we got stopped in.
Well, we don't know how
Tabasco.
much he asked.
No, we don't know how much.
If he asked any, we don't even know.
But they were stopping every car, so it wasn't like, oh, here comes U.S. plates, you pull over, and then they're waving cars beside. No, they were.
I mean, dude's speaking English, and he says he wants cash.
No, he spoke one word, cash.
Cash, yeah. So, and I don't recall the exact amount. It may have been a bit less.
I mean, if they'd have gone, dos mil, I'd have been going, hold on, $100 now, come on, 500, 25 bucks. Yeah.
Okay, Suzanne, it's really easy. Just Google Paula Deen French toast casserole. That's it.
And it is good.
It's really good. You basically make up an egg and milk mixture with like some seasoning. I can't remember what in it.
It's got a little cinnamon.
Nutmeg, cinnamon, something like that. And you get a big loaf of French bread and you slice the French bread down in thick pieces, or it could be thin pieces, and you layer them. You layer them all in your casserole, pour the milk mixture over the top, let it sit overnight, and you make this like a pecan butter cinnamon crumble topping, and you crumble it all over the top and you bake it. That's it. But
and then you gain weight. Just thinking about it, because it's
the Paula Deen recipe. That's the one I use. So look that one up. So it's MTV Unplugged after midnight. Yes.
Basically.
And and here's the thing. I actually feel like I sing better when the music's turned down and I don't have a mic.
Well, because you aren't trying to project. I think you're just you for you, it's like you're sitting up there at your desk and here comes the song on and you're just up there singing with it. So you're doing the same thing that you normally do almost every day.
Yeah, the thing is and I didn't realize initially until somebody filled me in. I used to do karaoke a lot, and I used to win contests.
Mm-hmm.
I was a soloist in high school for choir and everything. So I used to be able to sing pretty good. And then I had to have a parathyroid surgery, and they also took half my thyroid, and they have to intubate you when they do that. And they damaged my vocal cords is probably what happened.
Well,
And
then they
then-
had to go back
Yes,
in
and then
an emergency.
I was in recovery, and I started having a hard time breathing, and my neck was filling up with blood like a bullfrog because a clip came off inside in my neck. So they had to rush me back and intubate me again in an emergency situation. So they probably didn't take as much care. So I got intubated twice that day. And I remember that my voice was very scratchy for several weeks, and the scratchiness finally went away. But ever since then, I don't seem to have the ability to project or belt my voice like I used to. I don't get enough air. I run out of air more easily. And obviously my range is more limited now. And it cracks certain notes. It cracks really bad. And I just don't have the voice I used to have, and I don't have control over the, what do they call it? Reverberation or rubato, whatever it's called. I don't have the control I used to have, and I don't have the projection. So I can't sing like I used to. And it upsets me sometimes. But for whatever reason, when we turn it down and we're not using the mics, I think I sing better.
Like I said,
don't know.
You're not trying to project. You're just sort of,
I don't know,
relaxing,
I guess. So it sucks. It sucks that I used to sing a lot, and then all of a sudden, I didn't realize that it was that surgery that messed up my vocal cords. It took somebody who's in a band to tell me that they messed up your vocal cords being intubated. I'm like, okay.
Genes messed mine up.
I'm surprised Paula Deen is still alive. She has never had the thought, hey, maybe this is too much butter.
Nope.
You know what? But she changed her diet. She had to. I think she was diabetic and a bunch of things. So yeah, all that mayonnaise, all that butter, she changed her diet. I don't know if she still cooks that way or not. This casserole recipe is pretty old. I think.
And I'll tell you what, it's a pretty crappy way of running a restaurant. I don't know if they still do this. We were in Savannah, and we're going to go to Paula Deen's, and it was one of those where you cannot make a reservation.
Nobody in Savannah will take a reservation. You have to walk up
and stand.
It doesn't even matter if it was Vinnie Van Gogh Pizza.
Yep.
A pizza shop. You have to walk up, tell them that you want to have a table, and then meander around and wait until they call you, and it could be hours. So I thought that sucked.
Yeah.
But I stood in line. I stood in line for 2.5 hours, and the line went down about 2 blocks down the street. And I think I got about maybe 20 or 30 people away from the reservation podium. And they were already up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon for reservations.
And we hadn't eaten.
And they were already making reservations at 4 and beyond. And I think the place closed at 5. And I'm looking at this. We're not even going to make it. I would have stood here for 3.5 hours, and they're going to run out of reservations. And then I found out that the food they served in her restaurant wasn't much different than the food we had at the Pirate House. It was pretty much the same spread,
which was not that good.
Some kind of pecan chicken and stuff like that. So I don't miss it. I was kind of pissed that day that I wasted all my time for what? I thought it was a stupid way to run a restaurant. You should just let people make reservations online, whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of making them waste their vacation time standing in the street.
And I'll tell you what, the one place, if you think about it, everybody was doing this. The one place that goes, hey, we take reservations. You don't have to stand in line. Just give us a call and we'll get you taken care of.
High Cotton.
That's Charleston.
And Charleston.
Yeah. But the restaurant that starts doing that in Savannah is going to be inundated because people are going to go, I don't want to stand for 2 hours.
Why do I have to stand around for 2 or 3 hours hoping that I might be able to get in and get some food? That makes no sense to me. What kind of way is that to run a business? I don't get it. Anyway, where are we at here? Here we go. Here I have to pay the government directly annually to have licenses to have permission to do certain business functions. Nothing else. Just write them a check so I don't get fined. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. And
You're always paying somebody.
all people here are getting tickets in Chapala for double parking except delivery trucks. Well, should you be double parking? That's the question. You get tickets in the U.S. for double parking. Why not in other countries?
Depending upon where you're at. I mean,
Philly.
yeah, but you
New York.
No, you can go to New York and you can get away with a lot of double parking for, if you're going to be there 3 hours, yeah, you're going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
But, I mean, one of the things is with Lake Chapala is that you got so many people and so little road, and the road was never designed to handle that much car traffic. And
if double parking is illegal, you get a ticket.
I get that, but I'm just saying that, they don't have the places for them to park.
Right.
And that's, that's the problem they got there in Lake Chapala.
Yeah. See, at least with the bribe, I'd be feeding someone. Yeah.
I get that. I mean,
yeah, probably the cop's family. Maybe he went home that night and brought some groceries.
I mean, like the one who went for us, is Potter or Frescoes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he wanted 500 pesos.
500 pesos
to buy Cokes.
Worth of Cokes.
Yeah. But anyway, my mom was a singer her whole life. Thyroid surgery changed her vocal range from soprano to alto. Thank you. I used to be first soprano. In fact, I don't know what's above first soprano, but I remember I was telling Annie and Arlene this not long ago. I remember when they were trying to find my range so they knew where to place me in choir. She got all the way up to the top of the typical scales that she would play, and she kept going, and she kept going. And then finally she just shook her head like this and she goes, first soprano. So yeah, I used to have a really good range, but I also expect with age that my range is going to drop. I
mean, I tried out for choir, but they shook their head and she knew exactly where to put me.
Outside.
Out in the hallway. So
but I mean, I expected with age that my range would drop, but what I didn't expect is that I would get to the point where I can't hold a note very long. I can't hold certain notes without my voice totally cracking, where I can't project like I used to. So
wow, you sound like most of our favorite rock bands now, because most of them have all had to lower.
I know, but I'm not 75. That's the difference.
I just said you sound like most of them. Although Philip Bailey, last time we saw him, I was like,
but he's singing lower now too. I was just going to say, Ann Wilson has finally started to take the lower notes instead of trying to reach her high notes. I noticed that recently. It happens to all of us.
She's younger than Philip.
It just bothers me, because I like to sing and I've sung all my life. And I mean, even now as I'm talking, I'm getting fry in my voice. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm getting fry voice. Yeah, it happens. Oh yeah, they're messed up. But I didn't even know that's what it was. I really didn't. And it, like I said, my friend who's in a band, she's like, and when was this? And what did you have done? And what happened after? She goes, they messed up your vocal cords. Oh, okay. We never even got them. We never got them before. Well, all right. So I'm just going to say this. If it is the law and you didn't get them before, that just means somebody wasn't doing their job.
It could be a change of regime,
right?
Change it.
Maybe there's a new boss in town who says, "How comes you aren't doing this? We're losing revenue."
How comes?
I'm saying it that way because
I see that. I was like,
how comes? That's right. Yeah. So just because it didn't happen before doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to. It just means it wasn't being enforced. Or maybe there's new laws. I don't know. I don't know what happens in those meetings. Or like you said, it might just be a new boss who's like, you know what? You guys aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. I better see something happen.
And the other part could be we need more revenue.
It could be.
I mean,
Bout out a few, Gina, a little Aretha. It doesn't happen that way. I wish. I used to wail with some Ann Wilson and some Heart songs.
And Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. I haven't tried to do an Alison Krauss song in a long time. I may attempt it. I'm afraid that I won't be able to hold the notes without my voice cracking, which is kind of sad because these songs are nice songs like Maybe and Let Me Touch You for a While. They're nice, quieter songs. And if your voice sounds like crap, well, you just hear it even more. There's no music hiding it. So
No, see, that's why you take on, or for me anyway, I do the people who are not known for great voices.
well, and I used to do a lot of really fast rap songs because I could, because I had a huge lung capacity, and I could just rattle off these lines and not have to worry about catching my breath. And I can't do that anymore either. So I'm like, well, what the hell? I can't sing these songs and I can't rap these songs. So I'm trying to find a whole new group of songs that I can actually do. So, it is what it is. It's for fun. It's not like I'm trying to win contests anymore. So,
well, no,
always
because I
shaky
mean,
now.
if we were going to have a contest, it's really down to you and Arlene because I'm not in the running. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm just there for fun.
I can only imagine how good you used to because we love your songs and enjoy your vocals. Thank you, Annie Vet. Thank you. Thank you for that. I mean,
Yeah.
he knows.
Uh-huh.
And it's changed. And so, we as people, we change. And as we age, we change even more. So it's just one of those things that I've learned to accept. I just didn't know
Roll with it.
I just didn't know what the cause was until recently. And I'm like, well, damn, I am going to try to do, if I ever get around to thinking to do it, just vocal warm-up exercises, because I have heard there's like 3 or 4 I could do that might help. And let's be honest, when you're in choir,
Well,
you do vocal warm-up exercises all the time. And I haven't done those in
well, I mean,
20 years.
We used to go, backstage from Nantucket, and the boys be
And
back
they do
there.
warm-up
They're doing their
exercises.
warm up and harmonizing and everything
know.
else. And,
I know.
and Mike's over there doing this so that you could roll his sleeves up for him while they're doing it. So,
We're such groupies.
hey, they were fun.
They were. Okay, so news. Any news? We still want to do our trip to Mexico City, but I don't know when the heck we're going to do it. I wanted to try a bus ride. I thought it'd be cool to get on the bus.
Hop on the bus, Gus.
Make a plan, Stan. You and I can have race to the bottom. My voice sucks.
Hey, you know what? I have fun. I pick songs that are fun. I put my own spin on them and go.
Oh gosh, one of our favorite songs that he does is so funny. It's Clarence Carter, Stroking. That's what he be doing.
Yeah. I know how to do that. And I know how to do the song too.
Oh my God.
I'm just,
Oh yeah. I also, when you guys are so cute and flirty and fun. The Core. The Core is the Eric Clapton song. I really like that song, and Mark loves that song.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is I've never really listened to the way the woman sings her part. And so her melody is not what I expect it to be. And I'm always singing some other melody, but it works.
I think it's Clapton's best song.
It's a great song, but I'm
70s.
never singing it right. I'm not following.
Doesn't matter.
I'm kind of doing my own thing. It's like I'm improvising because I don't know the melody that well, but it works.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite song that we do together is
Don't Misunderstand
Don't Misunderstanding by Rossington Collins Band. That's my favorite song to do.
I.e. Leonard Skinner.
Ooh. And Never Been Any Reason.
Head East.
Head East. I like doing that one with him too. So, Vámonos, Mexico City. That's right. We need to go. And I like when we have to get this put together. We used to have a karaoke version of Journey's Feeling That Way with any time immediately after it, because that's often how they play it on the radio. We had a karaoke version that had those two songs back to back in one file. And I don't know what happened to it, but I'm able to link them together. And I'm trying
Whoa.
to do that because I like to sing that one because I like to do the Steve Perry part and he can do the Greg Rowley part.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to hear that reversed. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. We always had a hard time finding Falling In and Out of Love and Amy, which is one
Together.
song. One song
Together.
leads into the other.
Yeah.
But that's not important anymore because I can't hit that range even close anymore. There was a time, but no, not now.
Yeah. And see, and as you said, like when I do certain songs like Tori Amos, some of the Ann Wilson, Natasha Bedingfield. I mean, anybody who had that higher range, by the end of the song, I can't even sing anymore. Like my vocal cords literally freeze up. Like I can do it at the beginning, but the longer I go on, by the end of the song, I can't even.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I can't even do it.
When the singer is replaced by Vince Gill because Vince had the same vocal range, and Vince is higher than Amy Grant. When the two of them sing together, and it's like
I used to be able to hit that note at the end of One of These Nights. I used to be able to hit that note strong, and I can't.
I can hit it with a hammer.
Oh, Isaac, muchas gracias. Sí. I like it short like this, just kind of coming down and flipping around my face.
Yeah, and you're not complaining in the morning, waking up with it all sweaty and everything
Sweaty
else,
and sticking to my neck. Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden the temperature's dropped. I mean, it's like.
Here we go. We haven't mentioned it yet tonight, Shane, but we are in Querétaro until second week of July.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're here till July 10th. And then we're doing 3 weeks in not 3 weeks. 3 months in SLP. So, and we're just going to be on the other side of the Jardín Tequisquiapan Pond.
Churros.
Should we look over here? Should we look over here?
Oh, gracias.
No, we're going to be right over by the Jardín because my churros are there.
That's right. Hola, Bob. States Baja California, right. Baja Sur, and Sonora free zone. You don't need a tip. You need Mexican car insurance for any car.
Yep.
Yeah. We knew that side was a free zone from the tip, but we have our tip because we have been everywhere else in Mexico that needs it. So we just get it and just here it is.
Well, we have a choice. I mean, even if we don't want to go to, let's say, Quintana Roo, which you don't need a tip for Quintana Roo. You just need it for the 8 states that you got to drive through to get there, And if you get stopped.
Yeah. And we're finishing up on that side of the country. So, at the end of that, we're going to investigate whether it's worth importing our car or not. Our car has some age on it. And they're very restricted on what years they will allow to import before the cost is just stupid. So we're going to see. If it's not worth it, we're just going to drive right up, probably to Arizona or something. I don't know what.
Well, it depends.
No,
it depends. No, it depends on where we decide we're going to move.
Well, yeah.
Then we will move.
Yeah.
Well, if let's say it's in the Central Highlands,
okay.
I mean, driving to Arizona, I'm going to go Texas.
Okay. So, I mean, the point is, at the end of the tour, we're going to make a decision on whether we keep it or not.
Yeah, and then we're going to, get to the city, get to where we're going to stay, and then figure out what to do with the car and go from there.
See, and there we go. And in those free states, you can have your U.S. cars.
Oh.
U.S. license and Mexican insurance.
Yeah, but you got to have Mexican plates as a permanent residence.
My question is, do they allow permanent residents in those states to have a U.S. plated car? Because we were under the impression that you get the temporary import permit because you are a temporary resident, and they match it up to your temporary resident expiration. And then once you have permanent resident, you cannot get a tip. That you have to either nationalize the car or take it back to the U.S.
Yeah, you have 30 days after you become permanent resident. And I think that the whole Baja area is sort of a whatever, I mean, that really seems to be a area that sort of we're going to do it our way, and they're Burger King.
Yeah, they do it their what they want to do.
Their way, and
that's right.
We're good.
Any chance you would live by the ocean? We would if it wasn't too hot and wasn't too expensive.
Well, I'm not ruling Huatuco out of my list yet. I'm just saying,
No, I like Huatuco.
Mhm.
I like Huatuco mostly because of the beautiful, beautiful beaches and the vibe in that town. But if we were going to live in Huatuco, it's not going to be in La Crucecita because it was too damn hot.
Well, there's no air movement there.
No air movement. It would have to be somewhere else in the area where you get at least a little bit of a breeze.
I enjoyed Progresso.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really sort of strange the way that it was sort of segregated. That Canadians over here and Americans, the U.S. over here, but the city itself, it's especially it was a little bit of a pain to get in and out of. But with what they're building, they're building a ramp so that the trucks that are going onto the pier will not be having to go all the way directly through town.
They might have that done.
They very well could.
Yeah.
And so, as they're coming out of Merida, they're just going to hop on this section. They're going to go up and over, and they're just going to go straight onto the pier. And that will alleviate a lot of the congestion of driving through. But Progresso, could I live there in a skinny minute?
I liked Progresso. It could get really windy. I didn't like the beaches or the water that much. It was kind of mucky, but I like Progresso.
Well, it's the Gulf.
It's the Gulf. It's not as pretty as Huatuco, but it's not as hot as Huatuco either. So, I liked Progresso.
The Malecon was enjoyable to walk down, and
yes, it was.
Once you started to get to know the people, the vendors out there, they sort of wave, and you could have conversations with them, and they weren't trying to consistently hawk their wares or whatever.
And you're close to Merida if you ever want to go.
30 minutes, you're in the shopping center part of Merida on the north side there. So,
yeah. And there was a lot of really cool local, natural, and archaeological things to see in the area.
The whole Yucatan.
Yes, it was cool. It was very cool.
Writing on flat rock. Because don't ask me to try and say the name.
I can't say the name
because it's.
Been riding a bus around Chapala and Ajijic today, and how's that going, Diana?
Probably better than trying to drive and find a place to park the car.
I'm wondering, do the buses get caught up in the congestion, and does that?
I don't think there's any way around that. We will find that out.
We're going to find out pretty soon.
In about let's see,
8 months.
We got 3 here, 3 there. About 6 months.
About 6 months. We'll be there in 6 months.
We'll be in Ajijic.
Mexican buses are a riot with chickens and everything. Well, yeah, if you ride the chicken bus, I'm just wondering about the, what do they call them? Primero, and
just
basically riding Adeo buses for these longer journeys. That I don't think there's chickens on those. But I've heard about the chicken buses. We haven't ridden on those yet. We haven't ridden any buses, to be fair.
Well, we got a car,
except for if we booked a tour with somebody.
Yeah, and most of those were vans.
Yeah. So, of all the places you visited, which would you put number 1 for someone who has 4 knee surgeries? Hills are not a good idea. Okay, so you want flat, walkable with medical centers. San Luis Potosi is really good. Querétaro, depending on where you are.
There's parts of Centro that you has hill, not San Miguel hills, but Merida.
depending again on where you are.
Yeah.
But there's not really
Not
any hills.
no. You mean you?
But when you're dealing with Merida, okay, so when you're dealing with Merida, you're dealing with humidity and heat in the summer, especially. And in San Luis Potosi and Querétaro, you're dealing with dry air and dust.
Yeah, lots of dust.
So I like Puebla a lot. And Puebla has a lot of medical facilities, particularly over near, what was it called? Angelopolis.
Yeah.
That's where the primary medical facilities are. And most of that was pretty flat and walkable as well.
Except you got to deal with the ash.
But you got to deal with ash.
Some people don't have a problem with that. Other people did not respond well to that.
Right.
So I
right.
mean,
I guess,
we don't know for sure if it was the ash or if something else happened to hit me or something. But there is a noticeable amount of ash in the Puebla area.
There is, and that's with Popo being pretty calm.
Oaxaca was pretty flat.
Oaxaca was pretty flat, but we can't speak.
And
we can't speak to the medical facilities, and there was
of an edge.
There was a little bit of an edge, and there was cobblestone and stuff that you had to navigate at times. I'm going to say, at the moment, I'm going to say my number one pick for that situation for flat ground medical facilities, I would say San Luis Potosi. We haven't been to Guadalajara, but I think that's got to have hills and stuff because of where it's located, and I don't know for sure yet.
Depending upon how the Spanish is, I could also say PDC.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, anything in the Yucatan along the coast is probably good. Anything in the Yucatan is probably good as far as flat. But along the coast, you're going to have more European and Americanized and Canadian and influence.
And they teach English in the schools.
And they do. I mean, so communication there would be easy, but it's also going to cost you more because the Yucatan is more expensive.
That's why I didn't say Tulum, because, you know.
It all is. So.
Yeah.
Locals told me, don't go in the water at Progresso, just saying. I didn't.
Nope.
I'm sorry. The water looked mucky to me.
I have an agreement with sharks, you know.
So
I don't go where they live. They don't come out where I live. So, you know, and so far that has worked pretty well.
Yeah, the water was very mucky, and he says it's the Gulf, and maybe it is the Gulf. I don't know. But it is
the Gulf.
I had no desire to go into the water.
And the Gulf just has more silt stirred up. They just don't have it the way. Just going from one side of the Yucatan to the other side of the Yucatan over there to the Caribbean side, and you're going, oh my God, is it clear? Yeah. Other than the time when the sargassome's in there, but the Gulf just has a little bit of silt in it.
Oh, the sargassum. Okay. My friends who bought in PV 2 years ago were thinking of maybe moving to Mexico City, but man, what a long time it took to get all that financial stuff and paperwork done for their condo. Yes. Suzanne, we've heard that too, that it can take a very long time to get property bought and sold.
And you've added steps in when you buy within 50 kilometers of the beach, because now you don't own it. You have a trust for 50 years. So, and you have to get government approval for that. So it's one of those, and I get it. They're trying to protect the coastline from being bought up, or they're trying to make sure the right people get paid so that those businesses can build up. So, whichever way you want to look at it.
Sure. Oh, Sleepy Joe, you're sleepy. Man, we know about those HEB cookies. We have had them. Yeah. And I have to tell you again, this is why I cannot do an ice cream sandwich. I get one of those HEB cookies. If I eat more than half of one, I get sick. So I have to break them in half and just eat half a cookie. But they are very, very good.
And again, you can't leave them out, because you leave them out for 24 hours here, they become hockey pucks. I mean, hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because it's dry.
Yeah.
We just have to put them in a sealed container. That's all.
Yeah.
And yeah, San Luis Potosi is really, really
High on our list.
it's high on our list, and it was a surprise. It was not even on our list, and we ended up there just simply because we were trying to avoid driving through cartel active areas to our next location.
Yeah,
So we're like, you know what, man, we're
Yeah,
going to
the
go
state
up
of the state of Guanajuato was having a problem in the central part of the state, and we were going to San Miguel de Allende, and suddenly,
No, we were in San Miguel de Allende.
when we made the change,
Right.
we were going to go to San Miguel, and we did go there, but then we were going to have to drive through the center of the state to go to Guanajuato City,
Mhm.
and at that particular time, the state of Guanajuato had the highest murder rate in all of Mexico. And so we were just like, we really do not need to put ourselves in that situation. And so we replaced the Guanajuato City with San Luis Potosi and went up there and went, wow, hold on. This was better than we ever even anticipated.
It wasn't on our radar. And we just figured we would come around and hit Guanajuato City from another direction at another time. But then there was a bunch of reasons for why we weren't in San Luis Potosi as long as we would have liked to have been. But because we liked it so much, we were like, we have to go back. We have to go back and really give it a thorough try because.
And I want more churros.
And he wants more churros. But one of the things that was definitely something that caught our attention was, on the main street especially, the sidewalks were nice and wide, and it was an easy, straight, flat walk right into Centro.
All the way from Jardín to Quisquiapan. Well, actually, from the HEB, which is even further down the same road, all the way into, and then all the way down to the church.
Yeah.
The cathedral down there.
And you
go in and then you can go down, and it's like.
They closed that main road on Sundays for bike riding. And when we got into Centro, it was all flat too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very European. It was very French. And I really was not sure. It wasn't clear to me at the time why it was so French. But then I found out later, because it was occupied for a while by French.
And
yeah. So it's actually very nice. And you do get very European vibes from it. It's a very nice city. The only thing that might catch you off guard are the honking horns. There's a lot of very impatient drivers in San Luis Potosi, and the horns get honked a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's noisier in the day than SMA, but it's quieter at night than SMA.
True.
Because SMA, they like to do the fireworks, which, okay, that's part of Mexico. You learn to deal with it. But SMA, driving in SMA, you can get really lulled because it's like, even coming from Querétaro and then driving in San Miguel was just like, oh man, this is a piece of cake here after coming out of Querétaro. And back up to, SLP was,
So, all right. So Shane, you're saying that Guadalajara is extremely walkable. Very good. I wasn't sure because I know that some of the cities in that area have hills and things like that.
Well, I mean, there is that range of mountains between it and Ajijic. So
I've been wanting, when we're out in Lake Chavala area, of course, we're going to be doing some day trips or weekend trips to Guadalajara to check it out for sure. Isaac, I live in Guadalajara. Very walkable. Not a lot of hills. Very nice. Okay.
Oh, the medical
was very, very good there.
Yeah, the medical care in Guadalajara is world class. So, I mean, that's boom.
Very nice. So, Providencia. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that information, Isaac. Okay, Ruby and I enjoyed visiting Guadalajara. We've been there 3 or 4 times, but seems like we haven't even experienced a fraction of it still. Oh, Lord, yeah, big city.
Yeah.
It wasn't a place that we thought we would want to look at to live in because it is such a big city. And yet here we are in Querétaro, one of the fastest growing cities. So, I mean, I don't know. I do want to check it out though.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a high heat. We're gonna,
Hmm.
drive around the mountain and go up there and see it.
And Annie, Vet, and Arlene came up to visit us, and there you go. It is a very pleasant surprise. Like it really is not on a lot of people's radars, and they don't have a large English speaking population.
No, there's
But,
not a huge expat community there.
Mm-mm.
It is primarily a manufacturing city. It does sometimes get a reputation amongst Mexicans as being a little bit more of a snooty,
snobbish.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
They have a really, really, really huge park that we have yet to see. But when you look at the map, you can't miss it. It's literally southwest of the city, and it's enormous. And I am looking forward to checking out the park this time because we're going to be a little closer to it.
Yeah.
This time.
I mean, we drove through the park to go see Mark and Paulette, but that's
we did.
Yeah, we cut through the corner of the park there.
Oh, the corner of the park. Okay, we didn't drive through the park.
We had to go through the park to get there.
That's like saying I went through the northeast corner of Central Park, and then the whole park is everything down below that.
We drove through the park, so I know.
I just don't. It didn't leave an impression on me because we probably weren't in the heart of the park. So
no, we didn't drive through it for 15 minutes. I mean, it was boom.
All right. Well, we're caught up on comments for the moment.
No.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Why don't you get a drink?
I'll get a drink.
Yeah. I know that I will be reaching out to KJ and Craig because I know that we need to finalize a date here pretty soon so that anybody who is wanting to attend next year's meet and greet in Ahihi, we need to put a date on that so that everybody can start making some plans if you want to come down. Plus, I want to find out what they've been up to because it can get a little scary when I think about what those two have in store for all of us because they were, when we left SMA after the last one, they were just going, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and speaking of one of the people I just fixing to mention here, here's Tom. We have 3 birthdays in a row. We have myself and Tom and KJ, all 3 of us. And so if we happen to do that and we're down there, that's going to be a dangerous party, so, but we're going to find out exactly when they're going to do that and start releasing some dates. And that's, going from there. I think that we've got some things coming up. We are going to be we're going to an ophthalmologist coming up in about 2 weeks, which we're looking forward to because neither one of us has had our eyes checked since we've been down here. And we both need it, probably me more than her, but that's what's going on. And then we're going to try. Hopefully we will not have the issues that Mark and Paulette had, as far as getting a bank account, because we're just going to get Gina a bank account because she already has a Mexican telephone number, and we do everything out of one account anyway, so there's not really any need for 2 of us. And other than that, let me see, hold on. All right, I can
covered, baby.
I can navigate part of this. Let's see. Happy birthday to Arlene. Sometimes maybe paying a quote. Yeah, I know. You really don't want to encourage that behavior, but if it's going to make your life easier, okay, Let's see. Yeah, we do too. Given how gay friendly IHEEK is, I'll put $20 down to meet up. Involves stripper poles and drag queens. Who knows? I know that KJ and Craig have also, they like doing their trivia nights. So that could be, another option there. So, and the best part is the whole meet and greet that we did in SMA. We never really needed to go anywhere. We had such a good time with everybody just hanging around and talking. We didn't need any planned activities because we needed about 5 fewer pizzas. But other than that, that was the only thing that I would have changed is because we sort of had this itinerary laid out as far as we were going to have this many people here, and we're going to do this from 3 until 6, and then everybody's going to be able to go to dinner. And next thing you know, we're all having a blast. The sun's going down. We're talking with one another and just going, man, this couldn't have gone any better. So do we need to really have planned activities? I don't think so, but I'm not. This is their show. They're running it this year, so we will see what they come up with.
Ooh, where we at, baby? Right here. Tom. Oh, flunked on an automatic and passed 2 weeks later on manual.
Yeah, yeah. If it's, I think it's KJ's birthday, my birthday, and Tom's birthday, 3 days in a row. Katie barred the door. That could be dangerous.
Hey, Jenny. Okay, yeah. Send us a message and see if we can do a day trip to Pachuca area. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down with that. For sure. Oh, let's see. We're going to miss you in KC. We're always there, showing horses.
Yeah, we'll be back in KC, Stephanie, in latter part of June. And we'll probably be there. I mean, we're probably only going to be there for like 3 days. Because I think the family reunion's over on Tuesday.
And then we'll come back probably Friday or Saturday.
Saturday, probably. So
probably Saturday because I do have to work.
Yeah, you have to work.
Time.
So, we fly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, come home Saturday, gives us the data.
Yeah, we're there in mid-July.
Mid-June.
Late June. That's right. And we're leaving here second week of July.
Yeah, we come home. We got 2 weeks, which I probably we purposely put 2 weeks out after we got home because I know there'll be some sort of shindig before we leave. So, yeah.
I know you're asking Isaac this, but I have to say, because I've been following Cafanes and Nunca Mas so much, I see them put dates up for Guadalajara all the time.
Oh, God.
Now, I know that they're not the only two bands that have to be playing there.
So. No.
But I have to also say, if you were looking at European or U.S. bands, I have not seen them go to many places outside of Mexico City. I am shocked, literally floored that Chicago is coming to.
No,
Querétaro.
I've seen some listed for Guadalajara.
A few.
Yeah.
It's not common.
It's a lot more common in Guadalajara than it is here in Querétaro.
Yes. Guadalajara does get more.
Because, you are talking either the second or third, depending upon which day of the week it is, largest city in Mexico, because it and Monterrey are always just, back and forth. And Guadalajara is an increasing music venue for a lot of bands.
Oh. Tom, I don't get this.
I do.
I don't. Explain it.
No, we're not.
But $20 is $20. I don't get it. Okay.
I'll explain it.
Tell me
I'll
later.
explain it to you later. There's,
Am I naive?
you're overthinking it. It's
Sucky. Okay. Okay, that's funny. All right. Sorry. Suddenly I'm taken back to that movie, you know. Or how about South Park?
South Park.
South Park's version of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. What was Cartman's name on that one?
I don't know.
Yim Yi or something?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Too funny.
But so that's about where we're at.
That's where we're at. Yeah. Okay. So we've been on for 2 hours, guys. And unless you have more, it's a joke. I know, Tom, but I don't get the joke, but I think maybe I'm getting the joke. My mind is not there most of the time. Just saying.
Yeah, it's one of those that as soon as we turn this off and I explain, she's gonna go, duh.
Oh, I think I'm getting there.
Baby, it's not a thought process. It's a quick. It's either the lights on or the lights off. I mean, you know,
as my British friends would say, and then the
penny drops.
And then the penny drops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Gosh, Jesse's laughing.
I mean,
well, Jesse, I'm so happy I gave you laughter today. Don't hurt your ribs.
It's.
Oh, here we go. A question. Hello, John. How is life in Querétaro? Are you going to move there full time? It's in the running. We don't know yet. Querétaro has a lot of positives for us. The primary positives being that it's a very cosmopolitan, very internationally mixed city. It's growing rapidly.
It has very good infrastructure in there, and they are expanding. I mean, which God knows they have to.
Although sometimes it's growing faster than they can keep up.
I understand that, and one of the things that in looking at Querétaro as a whole, first of all, every time we go down into Centro, it's just sort of like
it feels right.
You know,
it's familiar and it feels right. You feel comfortable there. Yeah. And they got a record store and I know exactly where it is.
Yeah. Where's it at? It's right down here.
I know exactly where it is.
She knows where the record store is. I mean,
it's Azul Vinelis. Vinelis.
Yes. The rapid growth that is occurring in Querétaro is relatively limited. Well, not relatively limited. It is. East and west are just exploding. And then the north is become expat haven up there. I mean, Urquía, Zakia, and Zibata. You know, that's a lot of expats in El Refugio as well are in that particular area, which, hey, you know what? It's good. The part of Querétaro that I probably like the most is actually down by the girls in El Pueblito, because it has, other than Centro, that area down there has more character,
more authenticity.
Yeah,
more authentic charm and history. Not as up there.
And they got a pyramid in the middle of town. How cool is that? I mean,
cool. There's a pyramid in town. Why not?
Yeah, but no, I mean, where we're at now. Affordable, it's convenient, you know, it's close to the airport. Well, it's about as close as you're going to get to the airport. We're really close to 57D. We can hop on that real quick and get just about anywhere. But it's a cookie cutter. I mean, it's like everything looks the same. So, unless we were to find a house in Calesa, I mean,
I really like Calesa.
I like Calesa.
Colonia Calesa in Querétaro is my favorite neighborhood, and it has been since the first time we were here. I also like Tequisquiapan, which is not that far away, and it's about equal distance to the airport and a little closer to his cigars. So
Yeah, but
I like it there too.
I only go there every 2-3 months.
But no, we're not here permanently, although it's ranking pretty high up in the list, and it's definitely a very strong contender for the permanent home.
Yeah, the biggest thing with techies is the infrastructure, shopping, and this and that. You know, that is a little bit of a different area, but techies is quite enjoyable.
Turn
So
on this light so we're not getting blinded over here, right?
yeah,
And you can see the cookies. Cookies.
yeah.
um, yeah, and Yvette, I'll tell you as soon as I think I know what it is, but I guess we're not going to talk about it here, right? Thanks for the introduction to Cadets. I love you guys. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you for joining. And you know, we love Querétaro. We really do. So many neighborhoods to choose from. Yeah, for sure.
That's one of the things that when we do narrow it down to a particular city, you know, it's not, oh yeah, we're buying a house, you know, because let's just say we're Querétaro. You know, there is so much to this city. You know, do we want to be, you know, El Pueblito? Do we want to be, if God forbid, if we found a house in Calesa, it'd be like, just do it. But, you know, or Alamo, you know, uno, dos, or tres. You know, you want to be on the west side. You know, you have to spend time within a city to figure out, well, what's the side of the town that we want to live in, because, you know, even living in the U.S., okay, which side of the town do you feel most comfortable in and has what you're looking for? And, you know, so we'll probably spend 2, maybe 3 years, you know, 1 year lease here. All right, let's go try over here, then try here. Yep. So
for sure. How much longer are you in Querétaro? Well, about the
3
second
weeks.
week of July.
3 months. 3 months. Excuse me. 3 months.
Second week of July.
Yeah, almost 3 months to the day.
Yep.
Because today's April 9th. So yeah.
Aw, I missed you guys and everybody and being in Mexico. Well, Tom, you know what you have to do about that, right?
Yeah. You know where we're at, and you know there's always a room, bud.
And you know you already have your residency.
Yes. Yeah, all you gotta do is just show them the residency card before you give them the passport. That's all you gotta do.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, it's a Save the Gringo. I love the name. Very, very funny. Hola, Gringo. ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And Sleepy Joe. Do you ever speak with the nice couple from Tangerine Travels? And do you know if they're going to do any more videos? Okay. We don't speak with them. We've never really been in regular contact with them. Jordan has.
No, because about the time we got going was about the time for the, you know, break that occurred at Tangerine.
Okay, so Jordan has been on a couple of our lives, you know, checking us out, but we've never really had much more interaction than that. And Jordan and I are young enough to be our children, so you know, we're not really in the same circles of social, economic, and things like that. So we don't really stay in contact with them. Now, I can tell you that they're probably not going to make videos, because, well, their focus now is their growing family. And that makes...
But they will be putting out one every 6 months.
Oh, they may.
Just because...
Probably.
Just because of the fact that of the success that Tangerine Travels had, you know, in the beginning, and you know, got videos that have hundreds, if not millions of views, hundreds of thousands and millions of views. And Jordan is extremely smart and savvy when it comes to his financials.
Yeah.
He knows he's got to put something out every 6 months to keep that paycheck coming. You know, if you do not create content on your channel once every 6 months, you lose your monetization. And that's I mean, you know, some of those older ones are evergreens for them that, are going to get, 1,000 views a day. Well, you have 50,
So here's
50
here's
views.
my question: what type of content does it have to be?
Anything. You just have to post.
So all he has to do is go to his community tab and post a photograph, and that's enough. So I don't think they're going to make any more videos, and this is why.
Okay.
Because Maddie was the one that made the videos. Jordan hired somebody to make his videos. And it got to the point where you could tell toward the end that he was just rehashing the same old type of videos that they were always doing. There wasn't any new content. They really weren't moving around because they were settled down now.
And now a family.
Right. And having a family. So there wasn't any content to make. And he made the decision at that time that he was going to focus on, I think, a financial channel. And he didn't want to attract the typical audience that watches these travel type videos to the financial one, because that will interfere with how YouTube pushes out a financial video. If YouTube sees a bunch of traveler type people all jumping on this financial video, then YouTube will continue to push it out to travel type people. And Jordan wanted this video channel that he was going to start to be focused in that niche over there. So he was pretty much abandoning Tangerine Travels. And he's right. If Jordan wants to continue to get the revenue that still happens with these older videos that people still watch.
Because a lot of them are very good videos. And I mean, even though they're 3-4 years old, okay, and
that means he's got to make a post at least once every 6 months, even if it's just a photograph of his new baby, which I've noticed they've been very, very, very protective about showing the face of that baby. So, and I don't blame them.
No.
So, they're focusing on their family, and they're not interested in continuing Tangerine Travels per se. He definitely wanted to focus on the financial channel. I don't even know the name of the financial channel.
No, but I can guarantee you, he ain't going to just up and walk away. He wrote a big check to Maddie.
Yeah.
For that name, all because of the fact that continuing revenue is going to come in. So, that was like, okay, you know what? I need to protect that. And so he pays somebody, $500 to create a video of whatever. Trust me, he's making more than that just on those evergreen videos.
Oh, sure.
So,
But I do believe it's twofold. It's the fact that he was probably running out of content ideas, and then he had the family to focus on. And so, no, I don't think he's going to create any more video content.
And Mai is going to be focused on.
Mai even had a Facebook page.
Child, not videos.
Mai had a Facebook page. I can't remember what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about cooking or something. And she took it down, and she posted a comment on the Tangerine Travels Facebook page that she closed down that because she's not going to be doing anything on it. So Mai's busy too. I mean, like, they literally are focused on their family right now.
Well, there's a new sheriff in town.
And think about this. I mean, they have to be bringing in income somewhere. Mai used to work. She's not working anymore. She's staying at home and being a mom, and she apparently had a rough delivery. And so, she's not working. Well, then what's Jordan doing? He's either living off his investments, or he's building that financial channel and living off of the revenue from the old videos on Tangerine.
And I bet it's part of A, B, and C.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
But he's not going to make any more. If he does, I will be shocked.
It would not be the same content that it used to be.
No.
I mean, it's not going to be, I don't see him, Mai, and the baby deciding, oh, we're going to go to Mexico City and let's do a video on this.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't see that.
No. I just think that they're just this nice little family unit.
Hey,
and they're focusing on that.
And you know what? That's what they should focus on. I get that. All right, this is a job. If you want to look at it that way, when you're in that stratosphere of monies that you're bringing in, it is, Mr. Beast, it's a job. Of course, he hires 1,000 people and goes, so what? but yeah, it can become a job. And, when you're making $150, $200 a month, okay, it is what it is. But when, what Tangerine Travels was making at a time, I mean, at the height of it with Maddie and Jordan, that was some green that was coming in.
Yeah, and we don't really know what it was. It's hard to speak to that.
I can tell you, just watching a couple of lives like we did, I was just like,
yeah, but YouTube keeps half of it. Yeah.
Okay, so they make $2,000. YouTube got a half, and they got a half for a 2-hour live. It was like, okay, Same with Adam and Heidi. Their lives were like,
they really didn't do that many lives.
No, but when they did, it was, geez.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of Adam's recent videos, just simply because I have no interest in Thailand. Well, so
he's in a different part of the world now.
Yeah,
so
I haven't even watched Adam's videos. Although I think he might have been somewhere where did they have that earthquake?
Myanmar?
I think he might have been close to that. I don't know. Yeah, that earthquake, man. Oh my gosh. Some of the videos of the swimming pools on the roof and people just relaxing, and all of a sudden they're getting out of the pool because their floats are going over the side of the building. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. No, that's scary. That's so scary. A lot of those buildings, some buildings came down, but a lot of those really tall buildings were obviously built to withstand earthquakes, and they swayed. They literally swayed. It was, wow, I can't imagine. I can't imagine being in an upper floor.
No.
And you're swaying.
No. And then the question becomes, do I run my ass down to get out of the building?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do that and you're mid floors and the building decides to come down, bye-bye. I mean, but if you're at the top and it goes down, bye-bye. I mean, it's like, I'm glad we weren't there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who else have we not seen for a while? Oh, yeah. Well, we might as well mention this too. So just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, there was a new video that showed up on the Why Not Now channel. And then the video was taken down. So that was interesting too. And that was rehashed material from their older material, nothing new. And then it was another one of those, are they back? Are they not back? Is this somebody just messing with the channel? Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if Lisa Marie or Steven suddenly jumped on there and started engaging people, then I might believe that it was them. But everything has just been, suddenly something's up and then something's gone. And no.
Well, I mean, when I personally express concern about their well-being and they never respond, I don't think it's them. So, and if it was them and they still don't respond, then they really never cared about the community.
Well,
right. That brings up something I'm curious about. What do you guys watch regularly these days? Any new YouTubers you've been following? I never have time anymore to watch YouTube. Occasionally, maybe on the weekend, I will probably watch, what is he called? The Professor of Rock?
Well, yeah.
Because he does some interviews with artists and talks about.
And then he also brings up some very interesting parts. Rick Beato every once in a while. Because when he brings up some stuff. But for here in Mexico, I mean,
I will occasionally.
Truly Remarkable Life. The best is in Mexico. Speaking of new,
But I'm so incredibly behind on everybody's videos. I try to grab what I can and watch what I can.
We try and catch, everything that Ernie tosses out. La Carrencita is still in our rotation. Mexico Relocation Guide.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean in Paradise, because you never know what's coming out.
I haven't seen a video with Sean
I know
in a long time.
But every time Sean does it, I've got to, and I'm bad about keeping up. Sean drops something. You never know what extreme it's going to be. Sean can be, I'm feeling sort of depressed and da-da-da-da. or Sean can have me rolling off of the couch.
He's hyped.
You know, and it's like you never quite know what's going on with Sean. And then
Ricky and Rochelle just flat fell off the face of the earth. Never saw them again.
And then Brighton.
And we watched Brighton.
I
mean, I used to watch Rick Rock. Rick Rock Travels. I used to watch Rick Rock, and I don't know. They literally just
Raquel.
I can anyway.
R-I-K-R-I-C. Rick Rack.
Okay, they vanished.
Yep.
They literally just vanished and never came back. So I don't know what happened to them. People come and people go, and I try to get caught up, but I never have time. And that's such a sad thing to say, but it is true. I mean, especially now that I'm working, and you know, I have to try to find the energy just to make a video for our own channel these days. I was hoping to have one out Sunday, and it didn't happen. So now I've got to try to have it out this weekend. I don't know. I don't really know if there's anybody new.
Other than the Besses.
You know, there's a guy that I like to watch, Dave Batiz. He's a guy who does videos on basically video editing tutorials and stuff. So I like him.
If you're a creator,
a lot of it ends up being, more often than not, videos either about Mexico, history, music, or editing. How to edit. That's what I watch.
Mine are either music, and mine really are either Professor of Rock or Rick Beato.
Yeah.
Or Mexico.
RPM 33. Sometimes I watch RPM 33. It's a smaller channel. Again, talks about music, vinyl and album collecting and things like that. That's about it. If I'm trying to figure something out and I need some help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell what she watches because, we're suddenly subscribed to things, and I'm like, the hell is this? And,
I know.
Drone ones and things like that. And it's like, all right, I'm not spending time there because I don't drive the drone. I don't edit the videos. I don't do any of that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And sway like a fat lady on stilts. You got that right, Samuel. Some of those videos were scary, just outright scary, just watching them, because they showed some that just instantly collapsed and went straight down. And then they show these others that are just swinging back and forth between two buildings. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine. I can't, because it looks like a tiny little sway to us, but be that person up on that top floor.
Well, hold on. When water doesn't lie, when the water in that pool was moving by feet. We're not talking 6 inches. We're talking 1 foot here, then a foot and a half back, then 2 feet here, and then it goes back. And then all of a sudden it goes back this way. And it's high enough that the float, when it goes with the motion of the water, goes right up over top of the protective barrier and
gone.
Bye. And you're going, that could have been a person.
It could have been. It's been a year since the channel had an update. Yes. And he said he was, I don't remember if he did a video on it or if he made a post about it, but he said he wasn't going to do any more videos on that channel. So again, there is evergreen content on there that will always make them a few bucks here and there. And if he wants to continue getting that money, he has to do something every 6 months. And if all that is just posting a picture on their YouTube community page, then that's all they have to do.
Who are you talking about?
Jordan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's getting enough views still to this day. Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this 3 years now, and we have some videos that get an average of between 25 and 50. And we probably have about 20 to 30 videos that average 25 to 50 views each day. Jordan has them that probably are averaging 250 to 500 to 1,000 views each day, and he's probably got about 150 to 200 of those. Those numbers add up quickly.
Yeah. Yep. Evergreen content's the way to go. Oh, prayers for the people in Santo Domingo, for sure. I saw that. And Ruby Perez. Oh, the merengue sing. Oh, wow. See, so I saw a video that somebody inside the club was actually shooting. So I saw the guys on the stage performing, and they were scanning the inside of the club back and forth and back to the stage. And then all of a sudden, phone gets shook up and all the lights are out. And I'm like, what the heck just happened here?
Well, there's a reason why establishments are limited to a capacity of this. And, from the reports I'm hearing is they greatly exceeded that and started partying on the roof. And you know what?
The roof collapsed.
Something's got to give, and something did give, and that wasn't good. So,
and I also heard that the building was very old. So now you've got a full capacity crowd that they start shuffling up to the roof because they don't have room inside for them. It's pretty tragic. And it was really horrific to watch this, knowing that somebody's inside this club filming this. And then all of a sudden something happens and all the lights, first it was, all the lights went out and it was just some blue. And then all those lights went out too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Not good.
No. And you really couldn't hear much. I mean, I don't know how they got that footage. I guess that person got out.
Well, they could have been doing a live stream.
Oh, good point. Good point.
That's why you keep me around.
I know. Since you like old horror movies, check out the Y Files. Conspiracies like Bigfoot and alien abduction. Oh gosh, you have to tell me this. I do. I love these things. Oh my gosh. I sat up for 2 or 3 hours one night on the weekend watching a whole bunch of these Bigfoot and cryptid type.
Oh yeah, I was going to bed, flipping channels because we were on VCTV, and I came across the Boggy Creek monster, and I went, "Do you want me to turn this off?" Oh no!
It's all about Boggy Creek. Come on now, this is a Bigfoot and cryptids.
And I'm like, I'm going to bed, And next thing I know, it's like 3.5 hours later, I get up to go to the bathroom, and there's still nobody in the bed, and it's like, right? Oh, I guess she's down there just watching all this.
You know how long it's been since I watched stuff like that? But it's fun. Oh, I got to tell you guys a story. This is a great time to tell the story. So I was a city kid growing up, small city, but I was still a city kid. And I wasn't used to seeing, wildlife and being out in the woods and being isolated and all this other jazz. And when I got married, we were literally living out in very rural area, an old farm.
Husband number one.
Yeah. We were living out in an old rural area on an old farm, in a mobile home that was parked on the property and next to the man who owned the property, who's also, he's living in a house and he's there. And I was alone one night and I'm pregnant and I'm hearing noises and I'm watching. This is the Pittsburgh market. And there was this guy who used to advertise in all the local newspapers every week, maybe every day. He was always advertising that he wanted to hear people's stories about Bigfoot, aliens, UFOs, everything. He wanted people's stories. So there was a lot of activity in that area, and the news are running some program that night about local Bigfoot stories. And I'm sitting in this mobile home. It is dark. I'm waiting for my husband to come home. I'm hearing noises. I look out the window, and there are glowing eyeballs staring at me. And then there was a noise. And I didn't know what the hell it was. And I was so freaking scared. City girl, so scared. I pulled the blinds down, and I'm now huddled in the corner in a chair on the opposite side of this stupid mobile home. And I'm waiting for my husband to come home. So He gets off work at 11 and he's rolling in about 11:30-ish or so. And I can see his headlights coming down. And he doesn't come in right away. And I'm like, what is he doing? He's like, Gina, 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 come out here quick. I'm like, hell no. And he goes, no, you got to come out here. The whole field is full of deer. Oh my God. Deer. It was deer. Freaking deer. I had never seen deer outside of a zoo at that point in my life. And the whole field was full of deer and they were surrounding the mobile home. That's what was looking at me through the window and making those noises.
You called deer?
Yes.
Okay.
So stupid. That's what happens when you don't know. When you just don't know. Oh, I've never watched him before. I have to look him up. I'm assuming you're talking about Jordan and Tangerine Travels. Or are you talking about
the Y files
or maybe you're talking about RPM 33 or Professor of Rock or
Rick Beato
or whoever else we talked about. I fall asleep listening to the Y files. Will give you weird dreams though, so buyer beware. Nah, that's
not with her.
Not with me. I grew up in the land of Romero, man.
I mean,
no, I don't get weird dreams.
And she wants to believe.
I do. I'd go ghost hunting.
We went to Savannah.
Yeah.
And did the ghost tours.
Yeah.
And one of them was just a walking tour of outside, and it started at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And that was fairly interesting. The second one was it was a big tour, and we ended up going to dinner at the pirate place. And so it starts with the jail. No, it started with someplace else. And then we walked through a field and she's walking through the field and she goes, now everybody pull your phones out and
cameras.
Take your cameras out and you're going to see the orbs. Now, folks, I was in the photo industry for 35 years.
Even I knew this.
And I'm sitting here and I'm going, everybody like taking pictures of the dust? Because she drug her feet as she walked through the field, stirred the dust up, and like, look at all the orbs. And
because everybody's flash is bouncing off dust particles. Like even I knew that.
And so then we go to the old jail.
Yeah.
And so she said, we start at the bottom, we work our way up to the top, and she's painting all these pictures of, these people this is what happened to people in here, and we did this, and these atrocities occurred. Now we get to the top floor, everybody gets closer, and she's at the back talking. And so I'm at the very back, and I keep going further and further back because she's walking from one side to the other, and I'm just disrupting the hell out of her.
Oh, she hated him
because what she was doing was stamping her feet, and everybody would jump.
Yeah.
And I'm going, lady, there ain't a damn thing here except for you creating some tension and then using noise to manipulate them. And so
he didn't say that.
I didn't say that to her, but I was like, I know exactly what you're doing. And she's like, sir, you need to move up. No, I really don't. I'm good back here because there ain't nothing up here. So, that one was, if you look up into this corner of the window, well, there's dirt on the window.
There's dirt on the window. Yeah.
I mean,
I do want to believe, and I do like to go out and do ghost hunts. And no, I have never found concrete proof of jack. But one of my favorite stories is I stayed in the most haunted hotel in Gettysburg. It was advertised in one of those Discovery Channel shows or something. I think it was called the Farnsworth Inn or the Farmsworth Inn or something. It's on a corner. And it was the house where there was a sharpshooter in the attic, and he was responsible for the only civilian death, Jenny Wade, during the Battle of Gettysburg. And it has other horrible things that, of course, that have happened through the years, yada, yada, yada. So in the basement of this house, they will do seances, they will do ghost stories, dinner theater, all this other crap. And you can also schedule ghost tours around the squares and stuff in that area. But it's supposed to be the most haunted hotel in Gettysburg. So again, with my first husband, I book a whole weekend to stay there. There was one other place I wanted to try, and it's a plantation that's known for being haunted as well.
In Louisiana.
Yeah, but we didn't go there. But we went to this one in Gettysburg, and we stayed for a weekend. And bottom line, after the first night, I just was like, nothing's happening here. I'm going to taunt the ghosts. And so I was just like, yeah, I don't think there's any ghosts or any spirits here. I think you're full of crap. I don't think there's anything going on here, blah, 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 blah. And then we go to bed. And when I wake up in the morning, and I was up hours and hours and hours. And I actually have an EF meter and all kinds of crap, right? And nothing happened. The next morning I wake up and my first husband is laying in bed looking at me like this. Like he was up all night. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because you didn't hear any of that last night, did you? No, I was tired. We had a long day. We visited a lot of stuff and nothing was happening. I went to sleep. So apparently he says he heard all kinds of noises that night, even noises that sounded like somebody just pacing back and forth at the foot of the bed. And the only thing I can say is that the room that we were in actually did have a child who had been injured in like a carriage accident or something. And the child did die. And it was said that the father had paced at the foot of his bed for hours and hours until the child died. I don't know. All I'm saying is I didn't see or hear anything. Nothing.
Yeah. Then you marry me and it's like, oh, hell no.
I am a skeptic, but if you can prove me wrong, do it. Because I want to believe this stuff, but until I see it, it don't happen. It doesn't exist.
And it's going to have to be a lot. It's going to have to be a lot stronger proof for me than it would be for her. Because it's like, no.
I used to go out to the cemetery. There's a famous cemetery that I'm not going to get too deep into the details. And I used to try to run my EMF meter in this cemetery, and nothing would ever happen. So, yeah. What is that place called? It's.
I don't know. I really don't care, but it's someplace.
There's a plantation.
It's between
the Myrtles.
It's
the Myrtles.
It's right outside of Baton Rouge, and yeah,
I want to go there someday, maybe, or not, or go to St. Mary's Close in England. That's supposed to be pretty haunted too. I don't know about Hecklefish. Let me go past this. This is a conversation I don't know anything about. So.
Yeah, that's.
And we watch that stuff off and on. Yeah, I find it entertaining. I don't know. They said that some of the skyscrapers are purposely designed to have the roof pull as part of the pendulum system. Makes sense. Oh yeah. Wow, Greg, that makes perfect sense because it absorbs that energy. Sure.
Oh, Shane was talking about Sean.
Right.
Yeah, and
yeah. Sean. Okay, Sean.
God.
Yes, Sean is hilarious.
Sean has got some of the funniest videos.
He's so funny. I can't wait to meet him.
And he's definitely the guy that when the mood hits him, and he has to be in the right mood, he will split your sides. It's just like. Oh my God! And then he freely admits it. It's like, yeah, sometimes I just lack the want to. And okay,
hey, that's okay. It's all right. Yeah. I just can't wait to meet him. We're gonna have a good time. I was down at my family's home in Ocean City alone in winter. And I looked up and these aliens were looking down at me. My sister gave me a shirt that said, "We are not alone." I guess we're not. Oh, Lord. The DA of Philly looked at me and laughed. Yes, I knew her. Oh, Lord. Let's see. If you want to believe, go watch the Y-Files episode on the Gateway Project. Okay. I seriously considered joining a ghost hunting team in the Pittsburgh area. I was really looking into it because I was like, look, I've got a scientific mind. I believe in science. and I could use these instruments, and I know how to use these instruments. I want to do this. And then I just never did. So, but I would need evidence. I need proof. So, are you guys going to buy a home there in Mexico? Oh, hola.
I don't know. I mean,
we don't know yet.
Part of the process is, okay, first we got to figure out what city we're going to toss the anchor out in. Then once we pick the city, then we got to find the perfect neighborhood. And since you can only get 1-year leases, it's sort of one of those where, just to give you our general plan, we announced the city, which would probably be, I don't know, next August or September is probably going to be about the time frame. Then we got to go to the city, and we'll probably get an Airbnb for a couple of months, because then we got to go, okay, now we need to find, somebody's going to work with us about getting a lease, and we got to start, navigating the city to go where, what part of the city. So then, we'll be there in that particular location in that house for a year. Nothing's to say that we spend a year in that city and go, you know what, we might have been wrong, and we go, let's try here. And we could do that. So nothing's written in stone, but, once we find the right city and then find the right neighborhood, if, the right deal came along for the house. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you right now, somebody came along and went, there's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath in Calesa neighborhood. She'd be like,
let's go look at it.
Let's go look at it. I mean,
I do like Calesa. Oh Lord. Okay, so Fire in the Sky. Yeah, I've heard about the loggers in Washington, and twinkling lights, weird twinkling lights. You know what? This is what I really actually think about aliens in general, if they exist. We are in a tiny, 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 tiny speck of the universe. And there's no way for us to scientifically prove that there are not other life forms out there.
Or that there are. I mean,
I think the possibility is, yeah, it could be. There's no way for us to know yes or no either way right now. So I am totally.
Well, I think it's probably very.
I think it's likely
pretentious of us to think that.
Yeah.
We in this grand scope of things are the only things that could be alive.
Right.
Really? Okay.
But, I mean, all the galaxies that are out there, just because we can see them on a telescope, what about the ones that are beyond that we can't see? So, Yeah,
I mean, I had a teacher one time that made me think, go
2 weeks.
23rd. Think about your fingernail. How many atoms are in your fingernail? Who's to say that those atoms in there aren't their own little universe? And you start thinking about all this and go, are we just some small piece
speck
in something else? And so, it's one of those where you really go, okay. I mean, it is a lot to think about. I can grasp that big picture. Ain't no frigging ghost walking behind me going, ooh.
Okay, I'm going to get to that right after this, because Jesse, yes, Gateway Project, U.S. Psychic Spy Program, done in VA. I did the training. Watch the episode. I do want to watch it, and then. His thing about ghosts. Okay, so this is funny too. Mark's face when I talk about ghosts. Let me talk about it this way. I kind of think, this is not my own theory only, but this is the one I lean toward the most. Maybe these aren't spirits or ghosts. Maybe this is a fold in time. Time can be manipulated. Maybe this is
really.
yes.
When was the last time you manipulated?
I didn't do
time?
anything. Go read up on Einstein's theory of relativity.
Okay.
I'm talking about scientifically speaking. Time can be manipulated, and the faster you go, I can't keep this right, but anyway, your speed at which you travel changes the rate of time. And anyways, the whole point is what I'm saying. Instead of spirits, what if this is just one piece of time that intersects maybe briefly with another piece of time? And where I get this from is there have been stories where sometimes someone sees what they think is a ghost, but the ghost looks really confused as well.
And
maybe they're seeing, maybe the ghost is in their time seeing something that they can't explain either. Just a thought.
And if you're driving at the speed of light and you turn your headlights on, do they work?
I don't know, Mark.
Well, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not an astro engineer.
Just
I'm a biological scientist.
That's a Stephen Wright joke.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. It might be that. Who knows? I just would love to see. I'd love to learn that someday. A lot of people would. I just want to do it as an investigative person. If you believe in science, start watching the moon. It moves overnight to a new location on the horizon every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Been tracking this since 2017. It does. It moves. And that's partly because it's in its orbit around us.
And then we're in the orbit.
And then we're in an orbit of the sun. So so that is true. And I love science, and I used to watch the stars and the planets at night. I think it's fascinating when they all line up and stuff, and I love to see asteroids, or not comets, not asteroids. I don't want to see an asteroid, but they're comets. So it's fun stuff.
Yep.
It was one of those things I looked into when I was younger. Homeowner, but when I finally make the move, definitely going to rent probably for the rest of my life.
But Tom, the one thing is do I want to pay out? That's, and here's the thing. Do I want to pay out this much every month? Or, we were just with Annie Vet and Arlene in January, and they had to go pay their taxes for the year, and it's $60. And you go, okay, nothing else coming out every month, $60 a year, give or take, for taxes, then utilities, and all you really have is some insurance and some food. I mean, I get exactly what you're saying, because we are leaning the same way.
Yep.
But it's one of those where you sort of go, do I want to pay every month or want to pay once? I mean, who's to say what's right and wrong?
I love this. Mark be tripping with that fingernail stuff. You know what? You know where I think he got it from? You know the scene in Animal House where everybody's smoking weed with Donald Sutherland, the professor, and they start having deep conversations when they're all stoned? It's kind of like that.
What, when they're in, we're in the bathtub?
Were they in a bathtub?
Oh, God. Yes.
Were they? I thought they were sitting around a table.
No. Okay. No, Boone and them are sitting in the bathtub.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But they're all stoned, and they're talking about deep stuff.
Yeah.
With Donald Sutherland. Yeah. See, like a different dimension. Yes, Suzanne. What if it's not a ghost? What if it's just like these two people in their own time periods that for that moment are looking at each other like, what the hell is that? And then it's over with. Maybe. I don't know. Could happen.
And
maybe. I don't.
And the Mothman will be appearing in Querétaro later this month.
Oh, my daughter loved going to see that town. She went to that town where they have all this Mothman museum stuff and statues and everything. And she just was tripping. She sent all kinds of pictures. She thought that was just so fun. In the meantime, I'm not going to pick on her because Monroeville Mall has the George Romero Zombie Museum, and I've wanted to go see that.
And she is her daughter. So, I mean,
That's right.
We're
all into the stuff.
And quite honestly,
see, I've had the same thought.
If all out of all three of our daughters, if she wants to believe in the damn Mothman, she has earned a pass. Go right ahead.
You just go right ahead. You can go do Mothman.
Yes.
$60 a year. Mine's over $13K.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing that you start going, okay. So in what you pay a year, in 10 years, you have $130,000 you paid in taxes. That $130,000 that you pay in taxes right across the street buys you a 3-bedroom home. Brand new.
Yep.
Furnished.
Oh, furnished?
Furnished.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, I mean, with the appliances and everything.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
no. But I mean, but with the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator, the oven, the stove, and but $130,000, and then you only have a $60 to $100 a year tax.
Yep.
Duh.
Yep. But to be fair, because of Querétaro's growth, we have seen this. They do have rolling blackouts. It does happen.
We had 1 week where it was bad, and then
it stops. But what I'm hearing is in the poorer neighborhoods, they get them more frequently. So who knows? Maybe they'll improve that infrastructure. It might be growing too fast for them to keep up.
I mean, Anivet and Arlene, every day they turn their water off on them, and they have 2 Tinacos, and they just make sure the Tinacos are filled. And you know what? But go right ahead, turn it off.
I think that the reason that water's getting turned off is they're not paying for the water.
I know that because they're not part of the Fraccionamiento, and
right.
They're getting free water, and so hey,
right,
ride that horse as long as you can.
Love that scene. I know. And see, and I like Donald Sutherland quite a bit, so I always kind of laugh at that particular scene. Yeah. Can I buy pot off of you? Is that what he said?
Yes.
Can I buy pot off of you?
Pinto.
In the bathtub.
Why Pinto? Why not?
I've never paid attention to see what they were sitting in. All this time I thought they were sitting on the floor around a table.
No, they're in a bathtub.
Oh my God, how funny.
There are movies that challenge me on. That's not one of them.
$60 based on the value of the home. It is.
And trust me.
Yeah.
We're talking a 3-bedroom home, 2-bath, nice outdoor garage, patio,
Okay, but in addition to that, this would not be property tax. If you were in a place like where we are right now, in addition to that, they have basically HOA fees.
Well, yeah. No,
and we've seen written, the houses that still owe, they write their number and the amount they still owe. And I think it was about 1,300 pesos.
1,400 pesos a month. I mean,
not a month.
Yeah, it's every month because they change that every month. New houses go up there.
Really?
Yes.
I thought that was their annual HOA.
Because
okay, so the HOAs are running about 50 or 60 a month too.
Yeah, because
all right.
But let's be for real. They're cutting the grass, they're taking care of the pool, they're doing all this.
They spray for pests.
And every at the beginning of every month, when we drive in the house in through the gate there, the list is long, and by the end of the month, it is shrunk back down. And by the beginning of the month, next month, it'll be, and they're not worried a bit about embarrassing you, because if you want to avoid it, pay.
Victor,
hola.
Nice to see you on here. Very cool. And boy, every time I see Puebla, I'm like, boy,
okay. So I was wrong. It wasn't 60, it was 150 a year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still low. It's still low. But it does. It beats paying all that. And that's California rates there. When you were in Pittsburgh, what were you paying? About $4,000, $5,000 a year.
Well, in Pittsburgh, which tax do you want to talk about? The school tax on $100,000 home was running me $1,250 a year.
Mm-hmm.
The property tax was running about $1,100 a year because, yes, they don't roll it into one. They have one for each of them. Then there's the borough tax. Then there's a borough tax for the borough that you work in, and then there's the county tax. Pittsburgh tried to tax themselves back into prosperity.
No.
And then we buy a house 50% more expensive in North Carolina, and we paid $1,400 a year, property tax, school tax, all
everything.
Well, everything.
I was in Westmoreland County, right outside of Pittsburgh. Westmoreland County did all their taxes in one statement as well. So school tax, property tax, all of it, municipal, was all wrapped up into one tax bill. I cannot remember how much we paid, but it wasn't as much as what he was paying, because Pittsburgh had high tax rates.
Yeah, I was in Allegheny County.
And then I had wage tax.
Mm-hmm.
Wage tax I had to pay to my local municipality that has nothing to do with your property. That was based on what you earned. And then I also had to pay
where you earned it.
And that's just called wage tax. That's not even municipal income tax. No, wage tax was a separate amount. It wasn't a lot. But
no,
then
it's 0.5%.
But then for Pittsburgh, because I lived outside of Pittsburgh,
you have to pay for
I
the
had
privilege.
to pay occupational tax to the city of Pittsburgh. And I think it was, I want to say it was $10 a pay or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, I lived in Allegheny County, worked in Allegheny County. I lived in Pleasant Hills, worked in West Mifflin, and both of them wanted 0.5%. Pleasant Hills, because you live here, that's our wage tax. West Mifflin, you're earning money here, so that's our tax. And it's all of you, I was so happy to leave there because they just, you want to talk about literally nickel and diming. That's, they're going, take a little here, take a little there, take a little here, take a little there. And it's like,
so $500 a month. Where are you paying $500 a month for an empty lot, cheeseburger? My goodness, that's pretty crazy.
Ouch.
Yeah. Wait, they put notice up of past due HOAs. Out here at our guard shack, there is a wipe off, one of those whiteboard, and they write the house number
and what you owe.
I honestly thought that it was an annual amount because I would see the houses being removed and the list would get shorter. I didn't know.
And then the next month they're all back to, these people haven't paid. So
yeah, I guess it's a way to guilt your neighbors into making sure you get your stuff paid.
You have two choices. You don't want to be on the board, pay.
Taxes in Oklahoma, $2,500 a year. And that's not horribly bad, but it seems high even for Oklahoma.
Well, it depends.
Depends on where you're living.
If you're talking Tulsa and Oklahoma City, those are bigger.
Or Pushmataha County.
No, Pushmataha County, 2,500 buys you mayor. I mean, or city council or county commissioner.
I took him to Antlers, Oklahoma. I said, no, wait, you will not even believe what you're about to see. and it's such a small town. And I'm like, but it's the gateway to the Kiamichi Mountains.
Those are not mountains.
No,
those don't even qualify as hills.
They're little rolling hills. Oh, let's see. My brother's paying $800 plus for his HOA in Florida per month.
Yeah, I mean, my dad.
Oh
I remember when my dad and his wife that he was with when he died were living in San Francisco, and he and I were having a conversation. I was bitching about taxes and the HOA, and he goes, "Bud, you ain't got nothing to complain about." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, their HOA, they were living on California Street there in San Francisco. $1,600 a month
Say no more.
HOA fees.
Oh my God. I mean, that's higher than my rent that I've had in some places.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just wild. Oh, look at this. Shane, $6,000 a year in Nebraska. You're right. That is too much. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that come with healthcare?
Yeah.
Or they at least give you a kiss?
Yeah, and Annie lived, she's right. They lived in California, we expect it to be high in California, but some of these other places.
Yeah, Nebraska?
Wow. Yeah, Bruno, come on down. You know, got to convince my wife we need to live in Querétaro and visit beaches. You know, look at it this way. If you like the beach and you go every day, all the time, or multiple times a week, then you probably want to be at the beach. But if you just like to go once in a while, you can be someplace central like this, and you can fly to the beach, bus to the beach. It's not that big a deal.
And I can tell you this. You can tan here in Querétaro.
Yes. I think we paid about 3,000 pesos for our house this year.
About $150.
HOAs and outside park maintenance are $1,350 per month. That's about
65. That's about right.
That's about what they're paying here.
Yeah, that's about what they're doing right here. And you know, I think if you get a month behind, you're on the board.
See, and there she goes. There you go. A lot of them in her fraccionamiento don't pay it. So she wishes they would put their names on a board.
I mean, it's a great, because guess what? Every time you drive in, boom, there's a list of who hasn't paid.
I mean, and we've watched, they've had people come out and clean the pool that's across the street from us. They've had to come out and paint the lamp posts. We've seen them. They come all the time and do the trim. Nobody has grass or anything to cut or trim. It's all done. They came out last week and sprayed for pests. You know, we didn't have to pay any of that. It's covered in that fee.
The pool's always clean and blue. And I mean, and then you have, somebody's got to pay for the security guards, security guards, personnel,
24/7.
That are there 24/7, you know, and part of me goes, well, do I really need them to be able to get into the trash receptacle area?
Well,
but you know, they come over and let you in so you can throw the trash away. And you know, I get it. And this does require money to pay for these people to do these things. So
for sure. All right, we're at 3 hours. We're going to wrap this up and want to say thank you so much again for hanging out with us, even though we had no topic and we were just meandering around like we normally do.
Hey, it worked.
It worked. Oh, you're in Edmond. Okay, Edmond.
If I remember correctly, Edmond is a suburb of Oklahoma City.
Let's see. How long a visit to Querétaro do you recommend to get a flavor for the city?
A couple weeks.
I would say minimum 2 weeks.
Especially,
minimum.
Well, it depends. If you're going to stay in Centro, now.
Yeah, but then you don't see anything except Centro.
You don't see anything but Centro. But Centro is really interesting. But if you're thinking about where you're going to live,
I mean, you're going to
want at least a couple weeks.
At least a couple weeks so you can get out and see some neighborhoods. And, you know, and I'm going to say this right now. I wonder if I have a link. I'm going to post
My
it
place
quick.
at Querétaro.
Let me see if I have it. And then I'll just post it. If I have it.
I thought you had that.
I don't know. And I don't seem to. I used to.
Okay.
All right. So I'll put it in the chat.
We have a video. They'll find the right house for you in Querétaro. And that's Romy and Lee's.
Oh, shoot.
And they are realtors / concierge, and they are very good at what they do. They are the ones that found Annie Vett and Arlene's house for them. And
there you go.
They do these colonial Colonia tours that they interview you online and go, okay, what is it you're looking for? What's important? What do you need? Boom, boom, boom. And then they will sort of go based upon the fact that they've lived here for as long as they have, pick the right Colonia for you. So,
but they don't pick the right Colonia.
They'll pick several.
They'll pick ones that fit your lifestyle and your needs, and they'll take you on a tour and show you those neighborhoods. So that'll give you a taste of the neighborhood. So you get to see what it's like there. And they can give you some information on, let's say you have kids. Well, there's schools here and here, and
do you want to be close to an international school? That's boom, boom, boom.
Right.
They know all these little tricks and all the nuances of the areas. And the best part is you get to do the Colonia tour with them. Even better is you end up making friends. And these two
great.
ladies are, two of our best friends of all in Mexico. And we've never done any business with them whatsoever. We just actually sat down, had breakfast with them. I'm not quite sure how it all came to be, but it was like, yeah, we like to have breakfast. Okay. And ever since then, they have been friends of ours since. And
they'll do you right.
Yeah.
They'll treat you like family, and they will try to show you things that are in your best interest. And
they won't try and oversell you.
No, they won't. But you do have to pay for the service for the Colonia tour. But if you're only going to be here for a couple of weeks, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
Because it'll get you out of Centro or out of your Airbnb, and they're going to provide the transportation to take you around and show you these places, so you get an idea of what these neighborhoods are like. So I recommend it. I think it's a great idea. And that is how Annie, Vet, and Arlene found their house and bought it.
Well, actually, they were going to show them the house across the street.
I know, but the whole point is that's
boom.
That's
and
how
then
they got
it was
it.
like.
So I'm going to try to wrap this up. I want to say thank you to everyone. I'm seeing all your thank yous, but we're kind of running out of time and we're running over. Thank you so much. We really enjoy having you guys here. Thank you for this comment, especially Julie. We appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and there, Mark, Lise, and Romy helped us. They are great.
Yes.
That's our ladies at My Place at Querétaro. If you type in My Place at Querétaro into Google, it'll bring up their website, their Facebook page. I think they even have an Instagram, and for sure.
Yeah, they're very good at what they do, and as good as they are at that, they're even better people. It's
Christopher. It's called My Place at Querétaro. That is it's a company of 3 women. They're all involved in real estate. They help find rentals. They help find homes to buy, but they also offer services to help you get established when you move here. Like they might help you get your utilities turned on. They might help you get a bank account, things like that.
And
yeah.
Romy knows everybody.
Everybody.
Oh, you need a bank account? Oh, go see this person over here. Tell Juan that Romy sent you. I mean, it's like, okay, she'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
But the best part is definitely when they do that Colonia tour, they're going to interview you.
Yes.
Video call with you. They're going to get information from you.
And then they do homework.
Yes. And they take all the information that they've gathered from you to see what will fit best. And then that's where they take you around to see is all these neighborhoods that'll work best for your situation. So I think that's a great idea, especially if you're not familiar with the location that you're interested in. So yeah, book a trip, maybe sit down and get some coordination with them. And I don't think you'll regret it.
And if you happen to come down before July 10th, give us a shout.
For sure. We'll head into Centro and eat again.
Gee, we hate that.
All right, guys. Thank you again so much. We enjoy doing these videos.
Dos semanas.
2 more weeks, we'll do another live. I'm trying really hard to get our Airbnb video out for this weekend. So,
but she's also trying to get ready for the party this weekend. So
I know. I got cookies to cook and
lots of balls
French toast
in the air.
casserole to make and sweet meatballs and jalapeno poppers and all kinds of good stuff. So, all right, guys. Peace. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hasta la vista.
Bye.